basically...
What the hell is that?
I'm sorry. Well...
Welcome to the Will and Thunder Show.
Welcome to the Will and Thunder Show.
Well, welcome on in, guys, to a slightly early edition of the Will and Thunder Show. I am Kevin Thunder, and out here we have William Telltale and Chris the Rock Trick. How are we doing, guys?
Oh, I made it.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm just not used to seeing daylight out when we do this show.
Speaking of daylight, have you seen the new... Oh, hold on. And since you said daylight, I have to bring this up because I saw a preview for a movie that's coming out. Last night's the first time I saw the preview, and it looks like an awesome movie to me. Have you seen the new previews for the new Dracula movie coming out?
I saw that it was, yeah, I saw it being advertised. I haven't watched it yet, but it does, you know, it looks like it, you know, just a little picture that they had, you know, the little thumbnail going with the thing looked pretty intense.
Well, the basic concept it shows where he's king and he's trying to protect his kingdom, and you know he's about to lose it. You know he doesn't have the forces or whatever, and he kind of sells his soul to this sorcerer demon type thing, and that's how he becomes Dracula. It's really cool. There's no twinkling, and there's no, you know, I dance in the sunlight and I sparkle. It's real, like vampire, kind of cool shit. He turns into bats and just decimates things. Oh, it looks unbelievable.
So is this going to be Vlad the Impaler, or is it a different character?
Yeah. It's Vlad the Impaler, and he turns into Dracula.
Nice.
Like by himself, like selling his soul. You know, he goes to this demon sorcerer, and I'm just taking this is from a 5-minute little short thing I saw in the commercials, is where I'm, you know, kind of basing on it. But it looks awesome, man. And some of the scenes are like 300. They're in this valley, and there's this big army force just marching through, and you just see this just cloud of bats come through and start tearing shit up. It looks pretty good, man. It looks really, really good. I mean, it's a nice answer to that joke of a movie series called Twilight.
Twifag. So what?
We did not just say Twilight on. We did not just say Twilight on the Will and Thunder Show. We did not just do that.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, cause, but you, yeah, like that, yeah, of course I will. But yeah, it's awesome, man. I tell my wife all the time, like, I'll walk in, she's watching, I'm like, we really watching this again? What is this? Why do you keep putting this on the TV? Why don't you just put Lifetime channel on? If you're going to decimate my manhood, go ahead and just put on some, you know, after-school special from, you know, the Lifetime channel. But anyway.
Chris, I saw something that, yeah, I'm sure you've seen it. Don't they have a trailer for the new Hobbit movie?
I have not seen the trailer yet. I haven't really been online today, but I did see the poster yesterday. Oh my God, it looks so badass. I can't wait to see this movie. Yeah, I'm strictly an elves and wizards nerd. I'm not into vampires. I'm not into spaceships. You know, I just like things that have magic.
And I understand it. And actually, I have not. I watched all the Lord of the Rings, and I got to see those in the theaters.
You've never seen Lord of the Rings in the theater?
Huh?
You've never seen Lord of the Rings in the theater? You've not lived?
No, I saw all 3 of them, but I did not get a chance to see the Hobbit movies in the theater. So I have held back, and I have not watched them yet until I can go ahead and when it comes out, I'm going to get this set, and I'm going to sit and watch them back to back to back because the Hobbit's a great book.
You've got to see them in 3D. You have to. You
well,
have to see the movies in 3D in the theater. Oh my God.
I'll rent a TV. I'll rent a 3D TV. You know, look, I've got a huge TV in my living room. Well, what about a 3D TV? I don't have IMAX in my house or anything.
It's not as big as the theater.
If you sit close enough, it is.
I guess. I don't know. Maybe you get one of those projectors, or I don't know.
No, I've got a big 65-inch TV.
But yeah,
Let's
it's
pick it up.
an experience to see these movies in 3D, so...
Hey, look, I'm only 5'6". My 65-inch TV, I can almost stand next to it and be part of the movie.
So you can be one of the hobbits.
Actually, yes, because the funny thing is, I'm
He'd be the
I'm
shortest one.
5'6", and I'm shrinking. I'm getting older now, so I might be 5'5" now. And I wear a size 12 shoe. So I am like a real-life hobbit. I'm like a real-life hobbit, really. I mean, I have a size 12 foot, and I'm 5'6".
That's great. Yeah, I'm pretty short myself, so...
So my real name's Kevin Thunder Baggins. So, I mean, just
Actually,
put that out there.
I will send that to Will. There's a website where you can find your hobbit name.
Really?
So,
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Just type in your name and it gives you a hobbit name.
I fit the criteria, man. You know, I'm right there. Short with big feet.
Awesome.
And you know what they say about big feet? Big shoes.
Yeah, I'm staying out of that one.
And you...
I'm here all week. Thanks for playing. Did I derail you? I do what I can, you know? Look.
I'm already in the
Anyway.
hot seat enough when we start talking football, so, you know.
I don't even want to talk about football this week. I mean, the Adrian Peterson thing, that's, it's kind of harsh, but we'll get to that later. Anyway, Will, you were talking about the Hobbit movie. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know. I
awesome.
haven't seen the trailer. I just saw that.
Oh.
Actually, I don't even know if it was the trailer. It might have just been the poster that Chris here was talking about. So but the
I've
poster
seen
does
a
look
trailer,
badass.
but this was a while ago.
It has like a picture of you're behind everything that's going on, and there's like one hobbit standing, or it might be Gandalf. I'm not sure who it is. He's just
No,
standing
actually,
there.
it's Bard who kills the dragon. Spoiler alert.
Oh, spoiler alert!
Bilbo does not kill the dragon. If you've never read the books, then fuck you. You don't deserve to have spoiler free. I'm sorry. Go read the books.
Right.
Oh man, okay. Spoiler alert on the Will and Thunder show. Damn, I haven't read the books.
Well, the book is
Really?
the
You've
Hobbit
never
book
read
is like-
J.R.R. Tolkien? Well, see, it's been a long time since I read them. I read them when I was like 11 years old, maybe even younger than that, because my brother was huge into The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, The Hobbit
Well-
is a short book, and Peter Jackson has just stretched this out. He's bloated this into epic proportions. I mean, technically, The Hobbit book is about less than 300 pages. You could probably knock it out in a night. And,
Right.
he's added so much stuff to the movies, characters that never existed, bringing in
That's
Lord
what
of
I've
the
heard.
Rings
So that kind of
characters
messes things up for me right there. And that's why I haven't watched them, because I have a friend who's, big into the books and the movies, and he's like, yeah, there's extra characters, there's extra storylines that kind of, muddy things up a little bit, but has it been, somewhat
Well, you know what it was.
to the book? I mean,
Peter Jackson had to have his answer to the Star Wars saga. He needed to have 6. So when Disney comes out with the
Actually, that's a little bit untrue, because what happened was, I forget his name. I think it's Del Toro or whatever his name was. He was set to make the Hobbit movies, and people just got so outraged at the idea that anybody but Peter Jackson was going to do them that because he was done with it. He was done with Lord of the Rings, Tolkien type stuff. He wanted to do other things. He's like, I've spent 10 years of my life invested in these movies. I want to do other things. And I guess,
Right.
People just made so much of a stink at the idea. I probably would have been one of those people. I mean, when I heard somebody else other than him was directing the movies, I was kind of like, this isn't going to work. And so
Well, you know what,
eventually he's just,
that would've
fine, I'll do it.
That would have probably irritated me too, because I became such a fan of the first 3 movies. Now, but promise not to hang up, Chris.
Why?
when the Fellowship of the Rings came out, the first film, I had heard all sorts of good stuff about it, about it being, a great story and everything. But like I said, I'd never read the books. So I'm sitting there watching it, and when it gets to the very end of the, I had no idea that the movie was the first installment of a trilogy. So so it gets to the end of the movie where they're at the top of the mountain looking, toward Mordor and whatnot, and then they roll the credits. I'm like, what the hell? That it was then that I realized that exactly what the movie was.
Actually, I've heard people that went to see the third movie, and the scene where they finally destroy the ring and they're laying out there, outside of Mount Doom, and the lava is coming down and all that, and it fades to black. Everybody starts applauding like the movie's over. I heard that from several people that happened in the theater, thinking the movie was over, and then that part where it comes back to the movie, they're like, wait, there's more? I mean, what more could there possibly be? The ring is destroyed.
Well,
I do think it's kind of funny. A lot of people who never read the books obviously didn't know what was going on.
well, I kind of can definitely see that. I mean, that last scene, especially as long as the movie was in the first place, that last scene didn't really need to be there. I mean, I don't know, maybe they could have...
Which one? The one with Sam? That's how the books end. You have to have it that way.
Well, Viggo Mortensen is not a good singer.
Oh, you mean that? Well, see, I mean, you have to tie up all the storylines. And that, maybe they shouldn't have done the singing. But, the Pippin singing is even worse. That whole song, I cannot even listen to it to this day, because it just sounds like to me an American Idol audition. I loved the movies, everything about the movies I loved, but they get to that part, and I have to press the mute button. I'm sorry, I just have never been able to get into that song that he sings. And, for me, it kind of ruins the whole scene, because it's just, you see all these images of the war and, people suffering and, this hopeless fate that they seem destined to meet, and here he is, hey,
Yeah.
I'm on American Idol, she bangs,
Well, Star Wars, the Star Wars saga, it can be all, everything that happened in all those 6 movies can be blamed on one single individual.
Right.
Care to take a guess?
Right, and that's how the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies should be as well. But I think that was Peter Jackson's deal. Like, if you're going to let me back in on this, I want to do it my way, and I'm just going to have my, Tolkien porn, fan fiction, fantasy, and just do whatever I want.
Care to take a guess at whose fault everything is?
It's Star Wars?
Huh? It's Star Wars. I'm not talking about George Lucas or anybody that made this. I'm talking about a particular character. Everything can be
Jar Jar
traced back
Binks?
to...
I don't know.
You're right. It's his fault.
Yeah, I know everybody
Okay,
hates him, so I'm not a Star Wars fan, so I know nothing else other than everyone hates him.
Well, the reason, Thunder, the reason that I say that it's Jar Jar Binks' fault is because where he's standing in for Senator Amidala in front of the Senate, and he says, "I vote to give supreme power to the Chancellor," and everybody else just falls in line. That right there, his fault. If he hadn't done that, then Palpatine doesn't become the Emperor, and there's no Galactic Empire, there's no Death Star, there's no nothing.
Then you have no Star Wars.
Then you have no Star Wars, man.
You have nothing. You have nothing to live for. It's like this, we have no Chewie.
Exactly. And look, and then the coolest robot of all time. I mean, that stupid one from I'm Alive. Do you remember that stupid movie?
Which one?
Short Circuit. The coolest robot of all time would have been Short Circuit.
I'm
I'm Alive.
Kid. Of course, I remember those movies.
No, man, you cannot take R2-D2 out of the... Yeah, exactly. No, R2-D2 was the coolest one. He had an attitude. He's like, look, he couldn't say a word, but he knew exactly how to beat the beep out of you.
Well, robots were big in the 80s. Everybody had a robot back then.
He was the most vulgar character ever to be in a film. They had to beep out literally everything he said.
Yeah, it's true. It really is. I never heard that.
That would be one of the greatest trivia questions of all time. Who was the most vulgar movie character of all time? And then the answer would be R2-D2 because they had to beep everything he said. That's
yeah,
awesome.
and no one's going to get it right. They're all going to guess stuff like Joe Pesci or...
Scarface.
Joe Pesci, yeah, exactly.
Right.
That is awesome.
Oh, well, by the way, to anybody who might be listening for the first time, we are a metal show.
Hey, Lord of the Rings is metal, okay? And if you don't think so, then you...
You've never been to Comic-Con. Look, you've never been to Comic-Con or anything like that if you don't think that Lord of the Rings is Star Wars. It's not metal. Because you will see people walking around in stars, as a stormtrooper and a Disturbed shirt on top of it.
If you do not think Lord of the Rings is metal, you need to go listen to Battle Lore because their entire music is about Lord of the Rings. They pretty much made an image off their entire musical career is Lord of the Rings. Their songs are all about Tolkien and Lord of the Rings, and it's great.
I do agree that it's metal, but I mean we got somebody new listening. They might be thinking, oh, they're just talking about Star Wars and Lord of the Rings.
Well, we're nerds too,
Well, hey, look, man, I'm not a nerd. I'm a dork, man, but I'm the coolest dork you'll ever meet.
Coolest topic.
Chris, tell us about our guest tonight. Who will be joining us at
I'm so
at the top of the hour.
Yeah, I'm so stoked to have this band on here. A Sound of Thunder. They were my pick at Sonic Cathedral for the band I thought was going to do great things in 2014. Everybody on the staff had to pick a band back in 2013 when we made our picks for albums of the year and such like that. There was a section there where we made predictions on what band we thought might go on to do great things or make an impact in the following year. And for me, my pick was A Sound of Thunder because, let me tell you, they are, we're always complaining about how there's no talent in the U.S. anymore as far as metal is concerned. They are totally busting that myth down and showing that there is talent out here, that you just got to look for the diamonds in the rough. They're just, traditional metal, bringing back the old school sensibilities, just kicking ass. And they're just the most prolific band out there. They're releasing albums practically every year. When I interviewed them last year for their previous album, they were already in the middle of thinking through this one that just came out. So, and they're already talking about album 5.
They're fucking awesome too, man. I mean, I listened to them today. Pardon my language, right there. I didn't need to bring that out at the beginning of the show, but man, I was listening to them today. And the thing is, there's not a track that I listened to today, not a track. And I didn't just listen to the album that they just released. I listened to a bunch of their stuff from the past up to what's now. There is not one song so far that I've heard that I'm like, oh, I could live without that one. No, I'm like, man, again, every song's powerful.
I'm telling you.
Oh my God, there is no filler in there at all. And look, last year they put out 2 albums. They put out a full length and an EP.
That's how I actually caught wind of them, was from their EP. And then, of course, a couple months later, the full album came out. I mean, they are always constantly working. They're always thinking of new ideas and, new songs, new ideas for songs. I know from their Kickstarter campaign that they had last year that they're going to work on an EP of cover tunes. So even while they're in the middle of this album and promoting it, they're already thinking ahead to album 5 and this EP of covers. And they're just on fire. They never stop, and I just love to see that in bands. So many bands these days, it's just they take 3-4 years to make an album, and a lot of the time they don't even progress in the way that a band like A Sound of Thunder has. A lot of the time they just do the same old stuff, and oh well, this is great, but it's the same thing you kind of did last time, and
And another thing to go into their work ethic right there is I was reading up on them, and they go into and they raise all their own money, and every time that they go out there, they set a goal. Look, man, we want to do this album and this EP, and we want to raise $8,000. That's where our goal is. And they go above beyond. It was like $1,300 that time, and then last one they did even bigger and better than that. And it's like that's what it takes to be a musician these days. You got to put your feet to the ground, and you got to do some things, man. You can't just put a song up on YouTube and be like, oh, here I am. They're actually out there. They're pounding the pavement. They're playing gigs. They're raising money, and they're going in the studio, and they're working with real studio guys, man. They're not finding the cheapest one in their town. They're working with, professionals, and the result is professional. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and and it says a lot about being a fan in this day and age too. It's more than just going to the gigs, or sometimes you got to put your money where your mouth is. If you believe in a product, you got to back it up. And me personally, even though I'm a professional and I interview this band professionally and all that, I am a fan. And when they did their Kickstarter campaign, I did donate money because I do believe in their music that much. I do think that there's somebody out there who's making an impact, and I want to help them any way I can. And
awesome.
It's not often that I say, anyone who knows me will tell me I'm very wary of buying things online or doing any online purchases. But for this, I, did whatever I could to try and make it happen because I really do believe in their music that much. I really think that they are a talent out there that more people need to know about, and whatever it takes for me as a fan and as a listener to help them, find their audience in more places, I'm all for that.
Well, yeah, that's one thing. When you came on the show originally, it was all about the femme metal and this, that, and the other thing. Well, the one thing I want people to know is this is not just about metal. This is real. This is just about metal. It's about real music here. And yes, they have a female singer, but they are so talented. It's not about that. I mean, this is about finding real metal and real music in America, and abroad. Don't get me wrong here, but I mean, this band right here just shows that, no, we're not dead. You know what? Yeah, Europe might have the mark on it right now, but watch out because you know what? We're still here. And they're unbelievable.
We do have homegrown talent. It's just the problem is looking for it and being able to find it, and it is there. And that's always been my philosophy about music. If anything you want is there if you want to look for it. If you're willing to put the effort in to find it, it's there. So a lot of people who bitch and complain, oh, there's nothing to listen to, there's nothing good out there. You're not trying hard enough.
Open your horizons a little bit. That's right. Open your horizons a little bit for one thing, and then put some effort into it. I mean, back in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, through the 80s, it was all out there. It was thrown at you. Don't get me wrong.
Right,
that was easy.
Let's face it. We don't have. I mean, back in the day, the primary way to find music back then was radio or MTV, and we just don't have that anymore. If you're expecting radio or MTV or whatever the equivalent of that is these days to turn you on to new music, you're not going to find it. So, you have to put a little effort out there to do it.
Back then they had the, I hate countdown shows because it's the same 20 songs that they've been ramming down your throat all week anyway. But there was a show back in the day called the Z-Rock 50, and it came on every Sunday night, and it was like the top 50 metal songs, and we just lost Chris. Her phone cut out or something, but anyway, Thunder, do you remember the Z-Rock 50?
I don't remember so much the Z-Rock 50, but one thing I do remember back then, which was a big thing, especially in the era that we grew up, was not only, you didn't just have regular radio. One thing that we're kind of having a resurgence on with this internet radio, it's kind of like what we had back in the day with college radio.
That's true.
So in college radio, you got to hear a lot of stuff that wasn't played on the, regular radio because, it's all right, well, look, we got some freedom here. Let's go ahead and play our music. Let's get some new stuff out there. That's kind of like what we do here, is it gives us a platform. Yeah, you can go turn on the radio and hear Blake Shelton or Justin Bieber or Pink or whatever, or you can go to the internet and you can find people like Jay Gore we met last week.
Right.
Today we get to meet a real. Yeah.
I'm sorry about that, guys. I lost you for a minute. My phone just turned off. I swear I need a new phone because this phone just turns off at inopportune times, even when it's fully charged. So. Sorry I lost you guys for a second there.
Oh, it's okay. Technical difficulties are part of our show right there. As a matter of fact, we take 10 minutes time of every show and we base it on technical difficulties because we know they're going to happen. Because we are the Spinal Tap of the radio waves.
Oh, speaking of Spinal, we'll actually do that segment this week because there's a picture of the singer Nina. How do you pronounce her last name?
Hello,
Chris.
What's her last name? Yeah.
Osegueda?
Osegueda.
I'm Latina and I can't pronounce it.
Osegueda. And look, my best friend's Latino, and I grew up, in and out of his house, and I should know a lot more Spanish because they talk around me all the time in Spanish, but I've got the accent down, so we're going to try and go with Osegueda.
Yeah, I think you're right on that.
You got to roll the Cueda right there, like a quesadilla.
Yeah, I've heard her pronounce it, so I'll just let her do it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's like when we've had bands on from, like the bands from Finland or the band we had from South Africa. Some of the names there, you're like, okay, well, it looks like this, but I understand there's an accent to it. How do I pronounce this? And what I thought would be right would be completely wrong.
Yeah, actually, it's a running joke that I have. If I can pronounce your name, I don't listen to your band, pretty much. Pretty much everything I listen to is from overseas, so it's like, I'm so
exactly.
That's a good thing to have. That's a good philosophy to have. It lets you off the hook with a compliment.
I never thought of it that way, But yeah, it is kind of like that because there's so few American bands that I'm actually, tuned into and want to listen to. But for the most part, yeah, if I know how to pronounce your name, I'm probably not listening to your band.
Well, I have an idea here, guys. Let's run through a couple other things besides talking about the band right now because we're actually going to have the band on in about an hour. And we'd probably like to talk to them about some of this stuff, too. So,
this will be fun.
We can make this 2 hours about a Side of Thunder. That's not a problem.
Oh, we can.
I love that.
We can go we can go for longer if we want. We can use the overtime feature.
Exactly.
Do we want to go to football before we go to the news?
Well,
I mean,
we might as well get it over with.
Yes, which now, if I remember correctly, somebody likes the Minnesota Vikings, right?
Yeah, and we're fucked. I can't say it the other way.
Well, Peterson's coming back. He's reinstated.
Yeah, he gets to play again next week. And first of all, to be honest with you, I don't know how bad the situation really was, but first and foremost, I believe in the phrase, spare the rod, spoil the child. I spank my kids. I'm not ashamed to say it. If my kids do wrong, they get punished. I'm not going to let them walk around the world with a handgun thinking that it's okay to do whatever they want to do because mom and dad weren't here for them and didn't teach them right and wrong. Now,
I think there's a difference between spanking and beating their ass. You know?
Well, I understand that, but you know what? My parents used switches or paddles or what so have you. I turned out okay, and I respect the world and I respect life.
No,
And Peterson said in his statement, you know, he said, I raised my kids the way I was brought up, and, you know, obviously this isn't the way people think that they should raise their kids nowadays, but he didn't think he was doing anything wrong. And I saw the kid's legs, and I'm kind of on the fence about this. You know,
Well,
because
see,
on the one hand, you know,
I
I grew up old school too. You know, I didn't get hit all the time, but it was not so much being hit that kept you in line. It was the fear of being hit. Just knowing that you were going to get an ass kicking if you did this. That was enough.
Right.
Like, you know what? This isn't a good idea. Let's just not do this. Let's find some
My idea of timeout when I was a kid was my freedom time. My timeout was the time my mom found out what I did in a time before my dad got home. That was my timeout.
And then the length of time
in the 80s.
And then the length of time that you were unconscious after your dad got home.
Well, you know, and not just that. I mean, and it wasn't just the ass whipping. And my dad had it down perfect. My dad would whoop your ass and also tell you how much you disappointed him while he was whooping your ass. So not only physically but emotionally, you were broke down. And I'm like, really? Look, all I did was break a glass. You know, I mean, and that's a joke, but anyway. But literally, I mean, that's the way life was. And I have a story. My son, my youngest one, who's 11 years old now, was about 2.5, 3 years old. And we're coming out the grocery store. I was a single dad at this time. So I had my 3-year-old and my 5-year-old with me. The 5-year-old's pushing the cart. I'm holding the cart and holding my youngest son's arm. He yanks away from me and runs out straight into the parking lot and comes within inches of getting hit by a car. So I run out and grab him by the arm, and I swatted him on the butt. And I said, do not let go of my hand again. And an older lady looked at me and said, you shouldn't hit your kids. I said, you're right. I should let the car hit them instead.
Nice.
And see, this is where I'm on the fence about this whole situation. I'm on the fence about this because, to an extent, I feel this is something that's between the families. You know, if they're going to take this to the law and make a big deal about it, then let it happen in that manner. I don't feel it's my business or the NFL's business or anybody else to decide. I mean, it's gotten as crazy as, I mean, I don't know if you heard about this, but now the Radisson, which used to host the Minnesota Vikings whenever they would, play
will not let them stay there.
They will not let them stay there. And to me, it's just, you know what, why punish the other guys for what one dickhead did? I mean, it's a dickhead move that he did. He didn't need to beat his kid like that. He was wrong. But why make the other guys suffer, you know, for
exactly.
that?
And it comes to a point now, and I understand the platform you're on, whether you're a musician out there, like, you know, some of these pop artists who, you know, everybody looks up to, or you're an NFL player, NBA player. I understand that, and yes, you should face consequences just like everybody else should. But the point of the matter is, if I spank my kid too hard, I'm going to go in front of a court. I'm going to get judged. I'm going to have to go through probation and anger management courses, but I'm not going to lose my job.
Right.
Right.
And this is where it's getting to a point where, yes, I understand as the NFL commissioner or as the NFL commission, period, you have to set parameters. And, yes, these are people that are more in the limelight than me and you or what so have you. But in the same aspect, yes, they did stupid things, but they're human just like me and you.
Well, yeah, and I was about to make another point on that, too. As a Vikings fan, obviously I look at this as, well, you know, Adrian Peterson is an investment to the team. So whenever he's not playing, it's a loss of investment to the team, which means it's a loss to the fans who invest money into the team. So everybody's losing when somebody's not playing. I mean, that doesn't justify keeping him on, but there's that problem there too. So
right, but there's a difference between, right, and you're right, but there's a difference in severity of things. Now, if he really went there and whipped his child's ass and bloodied his nose or something, look, he hit him with a switch, and did he hit him too hard? Yes. So should he be punished? Absolutely. But should he lose his job? Now, and the thing is you're saying for the team itself, but it's not just the team, because you take a name like Adrian Peterson, it goes beyond that. You're talking a whole company, the whole NFL, who relies on people like Peterson, who's a superstar, to promote things. And that's Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football. You know, jersey sales and all that.
What I found out, because at first I was, I was on the side of the coin, of the fence where it's like, Jesus Christ, I got my ass whooped when I was a kid too.
Right.
There were welts left all over me. But then I see he's being accused of another thing where one of his older kids, well, actually his younger kid, has a scar on his face from allegedly being hit by Peterson. If that's true, okay, that's
well. Then it's over and done with. It's over and done with, and I agree with you. I mean, as I said, and there is a difference between abusing your children and a difference between take care of business and treating your children and raising them the right way. Look, I would never hurt one of my kids. Never.
Right.
I would never put a scar on them. You look, and I have left handprints on my kid's backside. I've done it.
Of course.
Well, again, there is a difference between a spanking and, beating the kid in an inch of his life. I mean, Peterson's a big guy.
Right.
Even if he's hitting the kid with a switch, he may not know his own strength sometimes and do more damage than intended.
Right.
Because he is a big guy.
Like just today, I was wrestling around with my, with my 4-year-old daughter, and she just all of a sudden starts saying, "Spank me, playing around." When we're playing around, I swat her butt harder than I do when she's being punished, and she just laughs.
And she laughs.
Laughs at it. It's going back to like what you were saying before. It's basically, it's the fear of being spanked that is what does it. I mean, I was swatting her butt. I mean, she kept having me do it over and over again. I must have swatted her 20 times. On the
but
butt.
God forbid if somebody sees you, they're going to assume that you're beating your kid.
Right.
And
well, it's like
then you have to spend the rest of your life trying to justify it. Like, no, we're playing a game. It's not anything serious.
Exactly. I've got an 11-year-old son who is the toughest child of all 6 of mine right there. He's got 3 older brothers. He's the youngest of all 4 boys. So he gets picked on, beat on, messed with all the time. But he's the toughest one out of all of them.
Yeah,
and
you
I'll
have to
sit
be.
there and I will wrestle with him, and he will try and punch me in the wrong place as hard as he can because he thinks it's funny because that's what all the boys do. But you know what? And I kid you not. If I was walking to my 16-year-old and punch him in the arm as hard as I punched my 11-year-old in the arm, he'd go down crying like, "Why'd you do that?" And 11-year-old's like, "You're not tough enough, Dad. You're a punk. Come on."
Yeah.
There's
and
a difference there. And the thing is, if somebody saw me punch my kid like that at the playground, they'd be like, "What the fuck's wrong with him?" I'm like, "You don't understand this kid right here. He's 11 years old, literally had a 10-inch cut on his leg. I built him a basketball goal. It was brand new, so thank goodness for that because there's no tetanus or anything. He tries to slam dunk the ball by jumping off the back of it. Well, one of the bolts I put in there was a bolt that I came with it, but I did it wrong somehow, so it was stuck out about an inch longer than it should have. Caught his leg on it, on the inside of his knee, and a 10-inch gash.
Ooh.
Now, he's 11 years old. At this time, he's about 10. My older son comes in, Gavin cut his leg, come take a look. He's laying in the grass, no tears, no fear, nothing. Rolls over and shows me his leg, and it's open. I mean, it's monstrous. Look, you can see the casing. You can see the casing around the muscle, the knee, and then I'm like, I almost passed out. Look, I was like, what the hell?
Well, there goes my idea for dinner.
Anyway, I take him to the hospital. The whole time on the way to the hospital, I'm freaking out. He's like, "Dad, it's okay. I'm all right. I'm all right." I got it wrapped in a towel because I thought it was going to start bleeding, but it never really bled. It was such clean and everything. We get to the hospital. The nurse is like, "Okay, I understand you got a little cut." He's like, "Oh, yeah." Well, she's like, "Well, let me open up that towel and look at it." She opens it up, and she's like, "We're getting you to the back right now." The whole time, he never cried once. Not one time. He's the toughest thing I've ever seen in my life, and it's because, being in that lifestyle, And, I mean, he's just tough. He's just tough.
But some kids are like that. Some kids are completely fearless and just have no, and then other kids, any little thing, they fall apart. It's just, I mean, when I was growing up, my sister who was an age after me, she was freaking daredevil. She would break her arm, standing on shit, and she was the most accident, to this day, she's the most accident-prone person I've ever known. And
we need to hook her. How old is she? How old is she? Because I know a guy.
She just turned 30, so yeah.
I've got a guy that they'd be perfect together. They could match scars and broken bones, trust me.
She's the only person I know who could be standing still and have an accident and break bones. Let's just put it that way.
Will. Hold on 1 second here. Will, who do you know that's very close in my life that does the same thing?
Your brother.
Exactly. My little brother's about 35 years old right now and has had 12 orthopedic surgeries.
Jesus.
And he never rode a dirt bike, never skateboarded, never did anything extreme.
He was just born in a box that said fragile hands and they dropped it.
Oh, my God. You see, and I've had 5 surgeries, and I'm the most, but I've had them because of medical problems. But as far as that goes, I've never been a daredevil. I've always been cautious, and no, we shouldn't do that. And then here she is. Let's stand on this stool that has one leg.
Let's try to do a backflip right now. Why?
Right.
Why would you do that? There's no swimming pool or any padding. Oh, I just want to see if I can do it. Why would you do that?
I like to watch the extreme sports, but a part of me will never understand its appeal. It's just why, as an able-bodied person, would you want to damage yourself? Why? It just doesn't make any sense.
It's like, in my opinion, jumping out of a perfectly good airplane.
Right.
I don't understand that concept. If the plane can land, I'm landing with the plane. And I understand that, and you're crazy. But anyway, I mean, if the plane's going to crash and you got a parachute, look, my options have changed here. I've got a better option of making it with the parachute at this point in time. That's why I'm using a parachute. But if the option's better of you putting the wheels on the ground and me getting off and going and do what I was planning on doing, that's what I'm doing.
Once you get down, after jumping out of the crashing plane with a parachute, you're going to be like, damn, that was fun. I want to do it again.
No, see, I'm not that person.
I look at myself as I would be like that, oh God, that one person where, only 1% of people have ever died, and then I'm now one person.
Exactly, and I'm the same person. You heard, I'm Irish, I love everything Irish. The only thing I don't like about Irish is one thing. What do they call it when things go wrong?
Murphy's Law?
Exactly. Well, it's not a law for me, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, Murphy's Law is
and here's the deal.
never break that law.
I will never win the lottery, but if I go jump out of a plane one time, I win that lottery. And the whole way down when my parachute is not open, I'm not only thinking to myself, am I going to die? But you know what's going to make me even madder? I paid for this.
Exactly. Or, if I have that kind of luck where I would live. I jumped out of the plane and my parachute doesn't open and I live, and now I have a head in the fish jar.
See, that's actually what would really happen to me. I bounce, and then I'd be mentally cognitive enough to understand what I did, and still drool on myself and not be able to tell anybody. Yeah. I wouldn't even be like, dude, I just drool on myself, and they'd feed me once in a while, and I'd be in my head the whole time going, really? I'd be like the guy on the video one where he just nods his head, and he's trying to say, kill me, and no one would know what I was saying. That's my luck right there. And like, well, why does he keep nodding his head? Oh, it's just a tick. It happened when he bounced off the ground. Dumbass jumped out of an airplane. That's good radio. I don't care who you are. I'm telling you right now, that's good radio right there. I don't care who you are. We ain't talked a bit about metal music on this metal show tonight, but it's been great radio.
You just mentioned one. You talked about metal. We did it. All right.
I know. All right. Well, anyway. We're not talking about the metal plate that'll be in my head after I bounce off the ground, but anyway.
Well,
God bless America. Look, I'm in tears over here right now.
I have one more thing to say about on the subject of football, and then we'll go to the metal news. And this has to do with our team, Thunder, the Miami Dolphins. Oh no, we suck again.
Oh, I know, man. Look, I'm telling you what. To bring those two things together, because you got to have transition in radio to transition from one to the other. So once I jumped out of the airplane, bounced off the ground, I'd have to have a helmet to live again. So then we went to football with helmets. But the Dolphins looked like garbage this week, from what I understand. I didn't even watch the highlight. I don't even want to know.
And no Sean Marino.
And guess what?
Sean Marino's out for a month.
That's what I heard, man. And he was looking so good.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, mercy. And so,
you guys lost
anyway. Anyway, let's do the news.
I know.
I read the news today, oh boy.
Oh, riff. All right.
All right, well, welcome back in. Here's a little bit of news, man. Look, man, there are a lot of old
Hold on,
school.
This story's awesome. This story,
Go ahead.
I got to lead. I have to lead. Now,
You feel that way.
You know how
Go ahead,
people are,
buddy.
you know how there's always talking about, like doing brain scans and stuff like that, and having,
Yes.
well, it turns out that metalheads' brains are nearly identical to the people who love classical music. And
Which comes as no surprise to me.
No, me either. But it would come to a surprise to all these people who are out there, ragging on metalheads and, talking about how dumb they are and stuff like that. And those people, are definitely not
Absolutely.
welcome
I mean,
on the show.
because you got to think, man. It's simple as this, man. Have you ever listened to a true classical piece of music? You take a piano and one of these classically trained pianists or even harp players who play, 300 note progressions right there so fast that you can't blink your eye and watch them play it. In the same aspect of like an Yngwie Malmsteen, who's doing the
Yeah,
same
there
thing
are
on a
whole
guitar.
genres of metal dedicated to fusing those two genres together.
Right.
So, yeah, of course it does not come as a surprise to me at all.
One thing that Marty Friedman and Yngwie Malmsteen and Rev Beach and Paul Gilbert and Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, all the virtuosos, one thing they all have in common, other than the fact that they shred, is they're classically trained.
Right.
Even Dave Mustaine is classically trained. All these shredders are just, they're
Man, you look back
masters
at
on.
classic music like that, like even classical guitar, and you watch, especially some of these Spanish classical guitar players that can finger pick, that are playing is so intricate and it's amazing. It doesn't surprise me at all.
Speaking of finger picking, how about remember the guitar player from War Drum?
Oh yeah, no pick at all.
That guy-
Look, man.
That guy's
that's
amazing.
amazing.
That guy's better using his fingers than most people are using a pick.
Exactly,
And
man.
that's
and
great.
the speed, exactly the technicianship right there of getting in there and just playing it's unbelievable. It doesn't surprise me at all.
No.
But it's just documented now. So
Yeah, we have it
Exactly.
as
So then-
factual. It's factual evidence.
There's proof in the pudding, man. And you know what? We're as good as you are, guys. You can go ahead and put on your little black tie and your suit right there, and you go listen to the symphony, which I enjoy doing anyway. But you know what? You'll get just as much out of it if you go see someone who's a virtuoso like that. It's unbelievable. And just the talent. You're talking about the listeners, the talent that you're trying to listen to right there and trying to comprehend. As Will and I were talking earlier, some of these bands, putting these songs together and putting the music together, and you're sitting there trying to comprehend what's going on, and as fast as it's going, and the storylines, you got to have some synapses just, blowing off the charts.
Yeah, and that's another aspect to it, too, where it shares a lot of similarities with classical music, is that the band's lyric-wise, a lot of them could be, if you put it in an opera setting, it would be considered almost an operatic piece, with storylines and characters and, telling a tale through music.
Or a book even, you could take these and extend them out, just on a hair right there, and you could write a full novel on the storyline. And I know that we all, kind of, pick and make fun of Jeff Tate right there, but you look at the whole storylines and Operation Mindcrime right there, that could have been a movie or a book easily.
Actually, you know what? That was my dream at one point, to write that book. I wanted that more than anything. And, yeah, I did. I
And
did it.
the storyline right there of a priest and, Sweet Sister Mary and the whole trials and tribulations they went through. And, even the songs where you're, looking into the mirror right there and the way you perceive yourself. One great movie who has, a scene in there that would have been perfect for like Operation Mindcrime is a scene in the 25th Hour with Ed Norton. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie.
I'm not a huge movie person, so I have never seen it.
Okay. One of the best things, I mean, it would have been great, you know, in a movie scene like that. He's talking to the mirror to himself, and he's going back and forth. And it's one of the best dialogues I've ever seen in a movie, and it's just him.
Wow.
And he's
kind of like
talking
the
about...
Sweating Bullets video by Megadeth.
Oh, kind of like
yeah.
the Gollum scene in Lord of the Rings, then a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know,
Where
and it's
Gollum
right
is
here.
talking to his schizo self.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And it's one of those things right there where I could see Operation Mindcrime, but, you know, albums like that. Actually, you know, you've seen, like, Pink Floyd and stuff like that. But, I mean, even more intricate, especially with, you know, what we got now digitally-wise. I mean, you could do so many crazy things with that.
Well, yeah, a lot of bands out there are actually doing that. I mean, Nightwish made a movie out of their last album. Within Temptation made a series of comic books out of their album previous to this last one they just put out. So, I mean,
and what about Iced Earth?
Just,
You can't talk about concept albums without talking about Iced Earth and their framing on Armageddon.
Honestly, Will, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not an Iced Earth fan. I've seen them live. I get what people see in them, and I understand it, but it's not for me.
Well, even on a closer level to us right there, before you joined our show, we had a gentleman on our show. Ow. Anyway, we had a gentleman on our show who's in the process of pitching his movie and getting things rolling, and Mick James, which is the same thing, and it's based on his album, and he's trying to do this movie, you know, which, I mean, I hope that's going well for him, man. It's somebody I'd like to have back on the show and get things rolling with. And see how that's going. But, yeah, I mean, but that, you know, it's the same genre thing. People don't understand it. You can't make a movie off majority of hip-hop songs or pop songs when it's, you know, your booty, your booty, your booty. Yeah, you can make a movie off that, but it can only be sold in certain places.
Right, and certain, I would say even like certain hip-hop albums, per se, that had a story, that had, you know, certain stories about, like, you know, life in the hood, maybe. But even those to an extent, you know, Boys in the Hood, yeah, that was a movie that, let's say, was based on that kind of music, but it was real life, so it's not.
I actually thought that Boys in the Hood was a good movie.
Oh, it was a fantastic
I love that movie.
Oh, it was a fantastic movie. Don't get me wrong here, but it wasn't based off like an album like that, like we're talking about. It wasn't. There's not albums out there, or that I've heard, and I'm not gonna say they're not out there. There might be, but you don't really see that concept idea besides opera, metal, or classical right there. Where classical, you have a whole symphony right there that tells a story.
Right.
No lyrics,
and
nothing.
Those albums
it's just music.
You know, they're based on real life, the hip hop albums, where these are actual stories that, you know, tales that are being, you know, fictional tales being made up by imaginative minds. You know, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with nonfiction story or, you know, things based on real life, but, you know, I think it takes a special something to be able to construct the story out of nothing and, you know, make it real for people who listen or read it.
Even if you take real things, I mean, you take certain songs from the metal genre, even I'm going to go with the hair metal genre right there. I mean, but you take like Iron Maiden right there, when you do their video, and you look at their videos, and they're talking about certain aspects of history right there, and they're telling stories.
Oh yeah, every one of their songs could probably be made into a mini movie.
Seventh Son is kind of is sort of a concept album. It's based on a book called Seventh Son, and although they were vague enough in it to where they wouldn't have to pay royalties. So it's not actually about that, but it's close enough to where you know, to where they were able to put it out there, and anybody who's read the book would know. And I'd actually like to see them make a movie out of that. But
well, I mean, there's all different stuff out there. I mean, look at Europe. Who did Cherokee? Mm-hmm. Talking about, you know, the Indians. I mean, there's snippets here and there, and it's only But I'm just saying, but the only genre of music outside of Broadway or classical or opera that really does storytelling like that, you know, will take either real or even artificial ideas and make them stories like that, are more based on the lines of metal music.
Yeah, even country music doesn't have that anymore. I mean, old school did to that extent, like the old, you know, back in the day country music that really told
outlaw country.
He stopped. Like the song, He Stopped Loving Her Today. That's one of the saddest songs ever
written.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, you find that occasionally in country music now. And you know, and you're right. And, Chris, you are right. Country music does do that, but it's very particular. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, it's always about the same types of stories. But
Exactly.
yeah, I try to think of all genres of music out there that have storytelling like that, and it's very limited, and pretty much metal is almost the only one left outside of classical that's still doing it.
That's the one thing that I really like about metal music right there is that the scape right there, you know, the landscape of styles and ideas is that wide. That you can't have a band like Primus or, you know, bands like that who talk about nonsense, you know, Jerry with a race car driver or, you know, things like that are fun and loving and okay, well, it makes no sense, but it's cool. But you also have bands out there, as I said, like Iron Maiden or, you know, bands like Dream Theater and Queensryche who are trying to tell a story.
Yeah.
You've got everything out there, and it's one of those things where it's just a variety right there, and it's all talent. It's just, you know, you have your choices there. That's why I love metal, man.
Well, Dream Theater did a concept album too, but I mean, really in metal, I mean, the one that stands alone at number one as far as the best one is got to be Operation Mindcrime.
Yeah, it's definitely the iconic. One of the most iconic, if not the most iconic, metal concept album out there, pretty much. I mean, it sets the bar as a benchmark for everything else that's come along since. Like, everyone else who's put out a concept album since, it's always compared to that, you know, it's as good as Mindcrime, or, you know, this is something that fans of Operation Mindcrime would enjoy, or, you know, there hasn't been an album this creative since, or, you know, always comes back to that.
Because, you know, they did it completely right there. I mean, they went from start to finish, and they must have had the story already written to an extent and put the songs together to make it that complete. Because
from what I understand, Jeff came up with the concept of the story, and he kind of pretty much, you know, presented it to the other guys, like, look, I have this story idea in my head, and I'd kind of like to put it to music, and DeGarmo from there kind of went with it and, you know, made that transition from Jeff's story to conceptual music.
Right. And to have that group of exceptional musicians to do it.
Right.
To have the ability to write music that well and the lyrics. I mean, we bust, you know, Jeff's balls all the time, don't get me wrong. But, you know, they did something. But you have to give props to that right there. I mean, that was really something special, you know, for music right there.
Well, yeah,
you look at the wall, and I mean, you look at the wall, and you know, you get okay, you know, it's fantastic. The music was ridiculous, fantastic. But to put something that close together, the wall.
No,
the album, the wall.
You said ridiculous again. You said ridiculous again.
I say it all the time. So you shouldn't be upset about it. You shouldn't be amazed.
I'm not upset about it.
It's one of my favorite words.
About it. I just like to bust
break it up.
About it.
Thank you. Anyway.
Don't make me
but yeah, I mean, you know, Jeff was at his prime at that point, lyrically and creatively, and I think that's why a lot of fans bust his balls the way they do nowadays, because at least for myself personally, I cannot speak for other fans, but you know, fans that I've talked to share this sentiment as well. This is what we miss the most about him as an artist and a musician, is where's the creative lyrics, the thought-provoking lyrics that made you think or made you feel, and it's not there anymore. You know, all of his lyrics now are pretty much about fucking his wife, and if I want that, I'd listen to Kids, and I don't listen to Kids because I don't want that.
And I agree 100%. I mean, it's just it is kind of sad in a way. I mean,
yeah. Well, one thing that I'm not sad about is the fact that our guest has arrived. So we're going to go ahead and play.
Woo!
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and break.
It's time to get on
it. What?
I said we better get on it, man, and talk about some music.
Well, this is the song that we're going to play is off of an earlier album of theirs, and it's a cover from Black Sabbath. It's called Trashed, and this is Thunder. This isn't Ronnie James Dio or Ozzy Osbourne. This is Ian Gillan of Deep Purple singing this song, and for some reason I liked it. No, that's Ian Gillan. But
okay.
For some reason whenever I hear this song, I don't really think of Black Sabbath. I think to me it sounds more like a Deep Purple song. But anyway, this is Trashed, done by A Sound of Thunder, and it kicks ass. We'll be right back on the West
Actually, the singer's Nina.
to the Will and Thunder show. That of course, was trashed by our guest tonight of Sound of Thunder, and we are having all sorts of technical difficulties. Thunder, are you there? Can you hear me?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Hear us.
What was going on, man?
Too. But we have lost Chris, and okay, she's back. Give me one
I'm
second.
here, man.
Yeah, the board crashed on me. Did you guys? The board crashed on me. It's all good.
I heard the whole song, man, so, I mean, it was still playing, so.
Yeah, but it
you guys
crashed. Yeah, we were trashed.
Because my phone died, so I missed but I'm plugged in now, so hopefully I do not have this problem
Chris
again.
is back. Awesome.
Are we all here? Did everyone survive?
Yeah.
I think we're here. Can you guys hear us okay?
I can hear you, yes, sir. So that would be Josh right there, I believe.
This is Josh. Hello, everybody.
What's up?
Welcome in, Josh, man. Welcome into the Will and Thunder show. Is Nina out there?
I'm here.
Welcome in, man. Look, guys, man, that rocked ass right there, man. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's say welcome to the Will and Thunder show, man. Let's get to know you guys a little better, man.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. You guys have been together approximately since about 2008, 2009, somewhere around there is when you guys started this thing?
Somewhere around there, the drummer and I, Chris Haren's our drummer, he started the band with me back in 2008, but we didn't really get going until we met Nina at the end of 2009. So it's been about 5 years.
And you guys haven't quit since then?
Hell no. We're here to make music, so we make as much as we can.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. You're not just making music. You're making great music, by the way.
Oh,
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Now, did you
Yeah,
guys
I was
have
reading your bio. Go ahead, Will.
did you guys have an original singer before Nina came around, or were you guys still just in the rehearsing and writing songs phase?
We did. We had a guy named Nathan Matzinger who was our singer for maybe 6 to 9 months, and we did play one show with him. And we had about 6 or 7 originals at the time, and but it was like real half-baked. We were not ready for prime time, and
then he was on the run from the law, right?
Yeah, we
God.
had yeah.
That's so metal.
He ended up going on a cross-country road trip. He was supposed to come back. He ended up wrecking his car, and he got arrested for being a minor in possession of alcohol. And then he skipped his court date and ran off to California, and we never heard from him again.
Wow.
Nice.
Well, that's about as rock and roll as you get right there. It actually
That's why I love telling that story, because it's totally rock and roll.
Well,
that's so VH1 right there.
That kind of reminds me of a singer that Thunder and I knew from back in the day. This guy, and I'm not going to name any names, but he actually got put into a federal prison because he attempted to rob a bank using a cell phone.
Oh, my God.
I love this idea. Was there like a picture of a gun on the phone? Because that would have been great.
Oh,
Or no, was it one of those old block phones from the 80s that kind of looks like a gun?
Hey, look, I'm going to throw this at you. You'll give me the money. It's a Nokia. It's a Nokia. It'll make you bleed, I promise. I love you guys already.
Give me your money, or I'm going to throw this phone at you, and it'll hurt really bad.
Hey, a Nokia, that'll break some bones.
Exactly.
But anyway, we've definitely one of the top 3 bands that we've had on the show as far as music is concerned. And don't ask me to put them in order. The top 3.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Listen, today, guys. The last couple of days I've been sitting here and I've been listening to your music right there, and I went on YouTube and I was just hitting buttons and all right, let me hear this song. Let me hear this song. You guys are one of those bands where, man, it's all good. I did not find one song that I'm like, oh, that one's all right. No, that's good. You guys are super talented, man.
Oh, thank you. Have you heard our first album?
I haven't heard the first album.
I still like it. We seem to have a knack for, like, if we come up with a crap idea, we don't work on it, we don't finish it. So, I don't know. I guess we're good at editing ourselves.
Oh, the Rush
and that's so key right there, man. Even if one guy comes in, oh man, I got this idea right here. Listen to this bass line right here. Like, oh yes, that's all right. And you guys try and work on something that just never gels. Man, sometimes bands will push and push and push. And you find a lot of bands out there with CDs that have 5 great songs. The other 5 are like, it's all right, you know.
Or
Well,
for a lot
you
of
know,
bands that have about 25 bonus songs plus the 11 or 12 that they put on the album.
Right, you know. And the thing is, if you're going to do it, man, put out a 10-song album right there and make every one worthwhile right there. I love that idea right there. And it's like, look, man, there comes a time where, look, this doesn't work for me. Let's do something that's going to work for all of us. And you obviously guys have done that because the music is unbelievable.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I think
Okay,
you
Nina.
know, I think the album should be the album. You know what I mean? Because we probably all came up on, you know, Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin didn't have like 4 bonus tracks and 10 unreleased tracks from their sessions when they put out albums. It was just like they did 8 or 10 songs and they were all good, and that's the way it was done. So
Yeah, as
That's-
much money
and that's
as
the way
it
it should
costs
be.
to record music, they better all be pretty damn good. That's, I think, how we feel about it.
Well, right.
Exactly.
I was just saying that's the Rush philosophy because they say they don't have any bonus tracks. Their joke is always, you know, God forbid if we ever died in a plane crash tomorrow, we have nothing to leave behind to our fans because
Yeah.
whatever we don't use, we just toss it. Whatever
Yeah.
is not on our albums, we don't use. That's it.
yeah, that boggles my mind because you hear about bands like, especially like Metallica and like a bunch of them will be like, oh, we've got 30 songs worked up. We're gonna go into the studio and we'll do the best 17 or something. I'm like, man, if you had the first 12 and they were good, why did you keep writing? You know,
Yeah, or
replace the album.
guys like Eddie Van Halen, who supposedly, I mean, he's just been sitting on mountains of stuff. They've been pulling stuff, riffs here and there that he's had since the 70s that they still use today in their music. So it's just mind-blowing to think of all this stuff that he's just sitting on that we've never heard.
Oh yeah, I bet
to me, that's like me taking and going and buying a 67 Chevelle and getting it exactly the way I want to, and as soon as they're done building my car, me telling them, don't wash it, don't spit and polish it, I don't care if it shines.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what you want to do is take your best of your best and make an album out of that. That's what I mean, and that seems to what you guys have done. Because as I said, I didn't hear one thing on there that I was like, I can live without that one.
We
Well,
tried.
like Judas Priest's Redeemer of Souls album. I mean, it's a great album, but the deluxe edition of it has like 18 songs on it, and while one of the bonus tracks is like really good, like up there as one of the best songs on the entire album, but like the other 4, it sounds why why even put those on?
Exactly.
Because they
Yeah.
So before we go any further, real quick, we've been talking, and we all have our own ideas how to pronunciate your last name, Nina.
It's actually a lot easier than it looks. It's just Osegueda.
Osegueda. See, I said Osegueda.
Osegueda, yeah.
Well, yeah, I was wrong.
It's okay. A lot of people want to use that Q, that U, and they want to like put a Q in there. Nope, it's really
And that's what I did.
Osegueda.
Osegueda. All right. We got that out of the way, but anyway.
So
Now,
who are your musical influences, like vocally and guitar, or whatever? Because I mean, when I was listening to the album intently to review it, I heard I heard a lot of different styles and everything. So I'm just wondering where does all this come from? It all sounds like a Sound of Thunder, but at the same time, there's not one song on the album that sounds like another, which is awesome.
Yeah. I think I have this thing called the painkiller rule, which is it's not really a serious rule, but most of the bands that I listen to started before 1990, and I'm not a real big fan of like super technical guitar playing. I like kind of the looser, bluesier playing. So my favorite players are Tony Iommi, Richie Blackmore, Buck Dharma, and of course I like the guys from Maiden and Priest too. But my favorite stuff is the 70s looser stuff. And I think if you pick apart the solos, you probably hear a lot of Tony Iommi, a lot of Blackmore.
Right.
As I got a little older and I learned my theory better, maybe a little Wolf Hoffman. He's really good with his theory and at writing memorable melodies. Yeah. So it's really those older guys, like, the looser blues-based stuff is my favorite kind of guitaring.
Yeah, and strangely enough, like a lot of my vocal influences are from Aretha Franklin and Patti LaBelle, because that's what I grew up listening to. So I grew up listening to that, and I learned to enjoy metal later when I was in my 20s. So all of that stuff that I learned back then, I apply to metal.
Oh,
Wait,
absolutely.
You're not in your 20s?
Sorry?
You're not in your 20s?
Oh, no, I'm totally in my 20s. I meant my younger 20s.
Oh, okay. You said back when I was in my 20s. I was like, wait a minute. There's no.
Oh, no. I meant my younger 20s. You know, a woman's always in her 20s until she tells you otherwise.
You're absolutely right.
No,
I think my wife. I think my wife's still 22, and that's like 20 years ago. But anyway, you gotta respect that.
She wears it well.
Yeah, she does, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, so you were classically trained as well, Nina, weren't you?
Yeah. Well, sort of, kind of. See, what happened was, my mom took me to auditions, and I auditioned, and somehow magically I got in. I actually never had any formal vocal training, like opera training. I never had any of that. What happened was when I was in like middle school and elementary school and high school, my mom would just take me to these auditions with the thought that, she can sing well, I'm sure she'll figure it out, and somehow I did. So without any training, I was in the Washington Opera when I was in high school, and I took like maybe 2 or 3 vocal lessons after that so that I could learn some songs to audition with. But besides that, everything that I have done is self-taught and the product of the elementary school and middle school choir program, and that's it.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Well, that's one thing I was going to bring her up right there, is the choir programs in high school. You can tell a difference in a singer who's been through those programs, and, especially like junior high and high school choir, because there's a difference there in not just the vocal quality, but especially articulation.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
the way
actually I wasn't in my high school choir. I was in what we call in around here we have something called the honors choir, and what that is, it's a county thing where they will audition kids from all of the different schools in the whole county, and they'll pick some from it. So you have the elementary school honors choir, middle school honors choir, and high school honors choir. So I wasn't in the school choir at all because I was a theater major, and I wasn't able to take any choir classes when I was in high school. So I just went straight for the honors choir and somehow got in. And I never took any choir classes. I was working as an opera in high school, and that was it.
Well, we can see why, because, I mean, your vocals are fantastic. And
Thank
you're
you.
spot on. I mean, and I really thought that you had some training in choir because of your, especially, the vocals are so articulate, you're so spot on.
Thank you. Yeah, it was all pretty much the honors choir thing. It wasn't a school choir. It was like a once-a-week honors choir thing, and it was really cool that our county had that kind of thing. I'm pretty sure that most counties have that, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got. And so what you hear is what I have learned by listening. I can mimic really, really well. that's pretty much how I learned.
I'm a singer as well. Thunder and I were in bands back in the day, and I'm a self-taught singer as well. Although I had a pretty good range, but nowhere near the the high notes that you do, but the way I would always sing backup, and I realized I had a pretty good range, but I would always take the high end. But my early bands I was a guitar player. Well, I decided to start a new band one time, and it was going to be a 5-piece, and we couldn't find a singer, so I was just like, you know what, screw it, I'll sing, and I've been I was a singer from that point on. So,
you'd be surprised by the amount of range that you can find within yourself. I never thought that I could sing the notes that I can sing now until I started working with our producer, Kevin. And you can probably hear it, like, as our albums have progressed, I've been hitting higher and higher and higher notes. Like, I was not able to hit those notes back when we did our second album, Out of the Darkness. Now I can, and now I'm actually going into whistle tone territory. And you can hear a couple of that. I think you can hear that in Trash, that very last high note that I hit. That's whistle tone.
Yeah.
So with a really good producer, you can do amazing things.
Wow. Well, there's a high note that you hit in one of the songs on the album. I mentioned it on the review, where you channeled your inner Midnight from Crimson Glory.
Thank you.
I think that might have been the same note that I wrote in my review at soniccathedral.com, that you channeled your inner King Diamond. So that might have been the exact same note that we're thinking of there.
Yeah. King Diamond went through this entire band like a plague last year, so you're going to hear a lot of King Diamond probably from now on.
Yeah, I love King Diamond. The one difference between him and me is that he sings falsetto, and I try to keep his throat voice as much as possible. The only time I hit falsetto is when I go into those really crazy high notes, and that's when you have to go into head voice. But I try and keep it in throat as much as I can.
That's what he said?
Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what he said, yeah.
You've been, Chris, we've kind of been talking, well, Thunder and I have kind of been leaving Chris out. So, Chris, the floor is yours.
Oh, you know, I'm just listening to everybody else. You know, I figure if I have something to add, you know. But actually, I do want to mention that you guys probably didn't know that I know because I've been friends with Nina on Facebook for a while, and she, you know, you can never believe it, the voice that she has, that you actually have asthma, right, Nina? That, you know, you have...
I do. I have really terrible asthma, and it's only controlled by Advair. And when I'm off of Advair, it's really bad. I will get an asthma attack super easy. And especially during the winter, we have to be very careful. And Josh keeps an inhaler in his car, and I keep one in my purse. And I think we have them hidden everywhere at this point. But yeah, I have really bad asthma.
But those notes, I mean, that kind of singing requires a lot of breath. So, you know, I think somebody I remember commenting on your page saying that imagine what your voice would be if you didn't have asthma. But I mean, is that like a problem, or do you need to, you know, kind of, you know, prep yourself?
Problem. Like, it's not a problem right now because it's under control. Like, at this point right now, I have full control. But if I didn't have Advair, it's not under control. When I didn't have insurance for, I think, the first 1 or 2 years of A Sound of Thunder, I didn't have health insurance.
Oh, no.
For some reason. Oh, yeah, my husband was laid off. That's why. And I didn't have a company that offered insurance. But now that we have health insurance, I'm on Advair, and I have full control. But the first 1 or 2 years, I think, I didn't. So you might be able to hear that in our first album that I did not have as full control as I do now.
Do you think that might be the reason, too, why you are able to hit the higher notes or do more stuff vocally?
I can definitely say yeah, because when you hit those high notes, you have to have a lot of control, and that takes a lot of breath and a lot of power. If you do it weakly, it's not going to come out right. It's going to crack, and it's not going to be the right pitch. So, yeah, definitely. I mean, if I didn't have that Advair, I definitely wouldn't be able to hit those high notes, even though sometimes if you hold them out for too long, you get really lightheaded, and sometimes you pass out. And that happened a couple of times recording this album. So you got to be careful there, too.
It's not just Advair.
I can't sing for shit, so...
It's not just Advair that'll do that for you. Anyway, go ahead, Will.
On Steve Vai's Sex and Religion album, Oni Logan, is that Oni Logan? Who's the singer on that album? But he at the end of one of the songs, he hits this note, this really super long. It's not really the highest note, but it's still pretty high. And then they left and as soon as he was done, he's like, oh shit, man. Oh my God! He's like, my fingers are numb. And they left it on the album. You know, they left it on the tape and put it on the album.
Yeah, no, that really does happen. What happens is that when you hit really long high notes, you lose oxygen to your brain. And me personally, when I do that, and especially when I'm doing them again and again and again in the studio, I tend to black out a couple of times, and my vision will go spotty. And a couple of times I almost fell. I fell once, but the rest of the time I was able to keep standing. But yeah, it totally happens if you hold it out for too long.
I can't resist,
so
we figured out what happened to Jeff Hayes. That's what happened when he lost too much oxygen in his brain.
Yeah. Actually, we had a discussion about this. We think I might need an oxygen tank, and
no.
now I can't blame Axl Rose for having an oxygen tank. This has never happened live before because I typically don't just do those notes. I don't rapid fire them on stage, so I've never had the need for it there. But in the studio, it happens a lot.
Well, there was.
I never would have known that because I'm not a musician and I can't sing. So this is fascinating to me to learn these things.
You being asthmatic, I wonder because I've had, asthma. It wasn't really strong. It wasn't really bad asthma, but it was, an occasional thing for me. And one time, I found myself my lungs would kind of seize up on me, for lack of a better term, if I was on stage and they dumped the fog onto us, not dry ice, but the fog.
Oh yeah. No, the fog doesn't really bother me so much. We have fog, and that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is the cold, and it ends up feeling like someone's choking me. But since I have the Advair, I'm fine now.
Do the smokers bother you? Because I don't know.
Smokers
in California,
do
you can't
bother
smoke
me,
in the clubs.
Yeah, definitely smoke bothers me, so I try to stay away from all the smokers.
Speaking of choking, real quick here, you guys made a video to a song called Murderous Horde.
Yeah.
And you had yourself, see, now Will and I, growing up, we raised reptiles.
Yeah.
You had a python, Chubby. Am I right?
That's right. His name was Chubby.
And he was a black Burmese python?
Yes, he was. We have a friend named Tammy Hood. She and I believe her ex-husband had a couple of pythons, and several of them they brought in, and they were all very friendly. There was a white one, a green one, and a black one, and I picked the black one. And he was just super chill, and we kept it a very controlled environment. It was quiet.
Look, I love snakes here. And Will actually own two Burmese pythons. He had an albino and a regular, brown one. I've never seen a black python.
Yeah, he
Probably
was a beautiful snake.
He
was a beautiful snake, and he totally wasn't dangerous or anything. He just kind of hung out.
Not at all.
Yeah, I don't know
But
if
I
you
thought
know
it was
this,
really
but,
cool right there.
Apparently, at a recent Grammy Award, some lady was supposed to dance with a python, and it bit her. So
Probably because the music sucked. No, I'm just kidding.
How were you in that situation on that filming right there? The making of that video right there. How were you before it happened right there? I mean, were you already cool with snakes and reptiles, or?
Yeah, I'm fine. Okay. I've never owned a snake, and I actually before that moment had never held a snake. But I really love reptiles. I used to own an iguana. In my dad's country, they eat iguanas, so I guess I just like reptiles.
Well, that's awesome. I was just wondering, I mean, because, honestly, you take great music right there, and everybody has their ideas on how can we make this better. And to take somebody who's never been around a reptile like that, especially, and I saw the size of the snake. I watched the video. It wasn't a small snake. It was probably about 10-foot, 11-foot snake right there. And you're just manipulating it and singing and everything. For some people, that would be an issue.
No, it was very comfortable. My dream was always kind of to imitate Tia Carrera from Wayne's World. So I always wanted to have this thing with a really big snake.
Okay, now you like movies, and you like... Hold on 1 second here, Will. I'm going to make a transition. Are you ready? Get ready to push the button real quick. Are you ready, Will? Okay, so now you're talking movies, and you're talking rock movies right here, which if you want to consider that a rock movie, Wayne's World. We'll put it in there.
Definitely.
But there's the greatest rock movie of all times. I understand that there's a picture of you that on a piece of clothing you have a patch that says Spinal Tap.
Oh, yes, I love Spinal Tap. I kind of want to be Spinal Tap. I love
Well, see, that's, one of our things right here. We are the Spinal Tap of internet radio. There's always going to be an issue that happens. We're going to trip over something, or it's going to quit.
Like that train wreck that happened right as we were starting the segment with you guys.
Or jumping out of the plane.
Exactly. So what we do is we do a little thing here. If we think that the artist that we're talking to has an inkling about Spinal Tap, we'd like to do a Spinal Tap moment.
Okay.
So let's do a little intro right here.
These guys were 11. You can't press that.
Big bottom.
Spinal Tap, 1 second. What's wrong with being sexy? He died. He died in a bizarre gardening accident. Thousands of people spontaneously combust each year.
Hello, Cleveland! Hello, Cleveland!
So let's hear some of your Spinal Tap moments from like being on stage or in the studio or whatever.
Ooh, a Spinal Tap moment.
We haven't had anything like really, really terrible yet, and I'm probably going to jinx this now by saying that. But on stage, well,
no, yes, we have, Josh. Our last show with was it the one with
Ashes of Aries.
Yes, it was with Ashes of Aries. We had several Spinal Tap moments at that show. The first
They were all
Spinal
back to
Tap,
back.
They were back to back. The first moment, we were playing, and we were doing just fine, and then I looked over at Jesse, our bass player, and I noticed there was blood all over his bass and his hand, and it turned out he had cut open his thumb while he was playing, and it was everywhere. There was just blood all over the place. So that was moment number one.
People in the front row got blood on them.
Yeah. So that was moment number one.
Actually, I don't know if I would consider that a Spinal Tap moment or if I consider that just fucking awesome.
It was
because
pretty awesome.
I'm a bass player. Look, I'm a bass player myself here, and you only have a few moments when you're in a band to make your, you play with a drummer and everything, but all the glory goes to the guitar player and the singer. You guys know that.
As it should.
Yeah.
So for that moment, to be able to bleed on people and be like, look, man, it's like war up here. I was slapping the bass.
And it totally was.
That's
Well, yeah,
so
I remember
awesome.
he posted the pictures of his bloody bass on his Facebook, and it's like, that's so metal.
It was
so
metal.
awesome.
Now, it was awesome, but then what happened was...
I'm actually jealous right now because I've never bled on my bass. But, you know, from now on, I'm going to put razor blades on my bass so when I start slapping...
Oh, God. That's awful.
Look,
Yeah,
It
it was super cool.
Dude,
It was super
that is
cool
so-
until his bass strap broke. So 1 minute it's awesome, and he's totally all bloody and playing really cool, and then I noticed
he dropped the bass.
his bass guitar with one hand, his left hand, and playing with the right and holding it up in the air as he's playing. And he asked me to hold his bass while he gets something to sit on so that he can rest his bass on his lap while he keeps playing. So that is
right
Spinal
there,
Tap
by
moment number
all
2.
means, as a bass player right now, I'm telling you right now, you consider that Spinal Tap, I consider that the best freaking show ever. You're bleeding, your bass fucking falls off you, and the lead singer holds it for you so you can keep playing.
Yeah, yeah, and
He
okay,
spotlight
and
the whole
that was number
time.
2.
That spotlight right there. I mean, look, you win. Win, win, win.
He really was the center of attention. And then thing number 3 happened, which was I was wearing platform boots, and the entire bottom platform of one of my boots just ripped completely off. It was just off. So I looked like I was wearing a giant lift on one foot, and I had to call to my husband in the audience and tell me to bring me my other pair of shoes from my purse, which he had to throw at me while I was on the stage so I could change my shoes while Josh was soloing.
Now that
And
is
didn't
a
miss a
Spinal
beat.
Tap moment.
You guys didn't miss a beat, did you?
We actually didn't. I was shocked, but we kept going.
Yeah, we
That
did
is
not
so-
pause.
I'm telling you, that is so rock and roll. It's ridiculous. I'm jealous right now. I want to be a part of that right now. I'm just like, you know
Not
what?
the most
From
metal
now on,
band on
I'm going to
planet.
tell people. I mean, I was in Tennessee at that time, but I was part of the crowd. I don't care. I was
That's
there.
awesome.
Here's one thing that I have to talk to you guys about, and this is kind of a serious little bit thing.
Okay.
I was reading your bio here, and I live in Jackson, Tennessee, which is about 45 minutes away from Memphis.
Okay.
You guys have done something in this area, or for this area, that a lot of people really don't know about.
Oh,
guys
the West
just
Memphis
saw-
Street thing.
Exactly.
What?
And I've only lived here for about 8 years here, so I'm kind of catching up with the whole thing that's going on. Watch the documentaries. But you guys did a video for the West Memphis Street.
Yeah, we
Well,
put
we-
out a single.
We wrote a song for them, yeah. And there's a single which is still out there. And this was back in 2010, so it was before. I guess the media buzz was starting to build, but it hadn't reached that fever pitch that it got to. I guess it was 2013 when they finally got out.
Yes, it was a year and a half ago or something like that. And this is something I'm new to, too. I'm from Florida, but when I moved up here, it kind of, was brought in the spotlight, especially when they were released from prison and all that. And, I mean, a lot of musicians, big musicians, Eddie Vedder and all that, there's a lot of people who...
Hold on, I got to interrupt you, Thunder. Chris and I have no idea what you're talking about.
I
No,
understand
I
that,
do,
but,
I do because Disturbed wrote a song about them too, so I kind of know what they're talking about.
I can give you guys a
somebody
real brief rundown.
Let me put a little precursor to this. There was 3 children around the age of 6 or 7 years old that were murdered one day, and 3 guys that were metalheads were accused of the crime. Now there's a couple stepfathers that are involved in it, and they're trying to figure out what actually happened right there. There's some documentaries out there. You really need to watch it and pay attention to it. I mean, it's very in-depth and very, it is very, I'm just going to use the word crazy right there. But a lot of
there was no
musicians got
evidence
involved.
for these 3 guys.
No,
they
not
just
at all.
picked 3 guys.
They were
They picked
completely
these 3 guys because they
railroaded.
wore, right. It was after the Columbine thing, and they wore black jackets, so they were in trouble.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so
And,
these guys didn't do it. These guys did not do it?
There's no
No.
proof.
Yeah.
There's no
absolutely
cause
no
or
proof.
anything to it. And,
No.
and when I saw that today, and I'm like, because now me being in this area, and being around this, and I watched the release and all that, which, they pled no contest or whatever to get released.
Yeah,
I
they
think
had
it's
to say
kind of
that
cool
they were
that you
guilty.
guys, no, they never said they were guilty. Of course not.
Yeah, they had.
And that one guy, the one stepfather who's kind of crazy and the bald-headed guy, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember his name right now, but I know who you're talking about.
But
I mean,
for you,
they're out now, but it's still not. They still haven't had justice because the plea that they entered was a technical legal plea, where they're technically pleading guilty, but in their plea they're saying they're only pleading guilty because of the consequences, and they're not actually admitting guilt.
Right.
It's a bunch of BS, and basically just because they're free, they still haven't had their justice. So as far as I'm concerned, the issue is not done.
I agree with you 100%.
System hard at work.
Yeah.
Well, right there, you know what? And to have you guys, not only as good as you guys are as musicians right here, I wanted to give you guys props for standing up
No, thank
for
you.
what you believe is right there. And that's just one thing I wanted to put out there. And I'm sorry, Will, to throw you under the bus right there and you not know what's going on here, but
No, that's
look
okay.
up.
I mean, just explain it next time. I'm on board. I'm a team.
No, I know you're on board. I know you're on board with it. And it's something that is in the back of my head right here. And I saw that you guys did that song for him. And a lot of huge musicians, and not just musicians, but actors and everything, have been behind these people.
Yeah.
Well, I think as artists and metalheads, we can all relate to that feeling of being judged by the clothes you're wearing or the music you like, and I think that's why it resonated with a lot of those actors and musicians, and that's why it resonated with us, because those kids looked just like me when I was in high school, and I'm not satanic, but I sure as heck had drawn pentagrams on all my folders when I was in high school, and
exactly. You know why? You know why you did? Because you liked Motley Crue. And they had pentagrams.
Yeah, because I was into metal and I had all sorts of satanic stuff doodled on my binders when I wasn't paying attention in class, but that doesn't mean I'm a murderer.
Right. No, it doesn't. It's the same thing with them. And you know what? And I appreciate that with you guys right there. These are three guys right here. And if they did that, well, you know what? It'll come to pass one day. But you know what? The evidence isn't there, and there's so much speculation there. And as I said, I live 45 minutes away from Memphis, Tennessee right now. An hour away from West Memphis, Arkansas.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's big news up here, and I've watched the stuff on HBO and Showtime and the documentaries right there. And it's just, I mean, there's so many inconclusions right there. And it's nice, to have you guys on right there, somebody who's been a part of that. It was just kind of home to me right there, so I just wanted to bring that up.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So you guys wrote a song about what was the song that you wrote?
The
West Memphis Friedman.
Yeah.
Yeah, the song's called Justice at Last, and it just, kind of summed up the situation from our point of view, and, it was written while they were still in jail, of course. But we've even talked about re-recording it. I think the song, the phrase "give them justice at last" still applies because, they still haven't been fully exonerated, so.
Well, I don't think that's a song that will ever be outdated because metalheads are always going to be ostracized and judged and, automatically accused of doing bad things. I mean, if you're a rapper and you rap about killing people, let's give them a Grammy. But, if you're a metalhead, you're just automatically accused of killing people even if you swatted at a fly.
Just because I sing about murder doesn't mean I murder people. That's
Exactly.
Yeah, right. I mean, how many rappers rap about murdering people and nobody ever stops to think that if they murdered anyone, and some of them probably did.
Well, actually, one band that I love right now. I'm sorry. Here we go. I'm going to break in real quick. One of my favorite bands of the new era of metal is Disturbed, and they have the perfect line right there.
Yeah, I love
when they
Disturbed.
say, "I use my music as a weapon."
Yep.
That's what that's what you're talking about. When you're in metal, you're talking about murder. Most of the time it's about look, I'm going to kill this guitar right here.
I think for a lot of us, metal keeps us from doing that shit. Like, we live in metal to prevent going out and punching people in the face because we're supposed to stop it.
Which I want to do all the time because I hate stupid people. Did I say that out loud? Oh, and I said that on the radio? Shit.
Yeah,
I hate stupid
truth,
people.
my friend.
Allegedly. Just say allegedly. It's all right, and then everything's okay.
Allegedly.
Right. You allegedly want to punch people in the face.
I allegedly want to punch people. Oh, no. I allegedly want to punch people in the face. Right. I allegedly want to punch people in the face, but I reality hate stupid people.
Yeah,
So,
me
anyway.
too.
There's no crime in that, so
All day, every day.
Well, let's play the next song. The next song that we have queued up is the Boy Who Could Fly. Could you tell us a little bit about that one, like the story behind it and everything?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a funny story.
Yeah, so we forced Nina to sing this song. Nina is like, of the four of us in the band, Nina is the most like through and through metal. So it's always a challenge to get her to like fully into singing a ballad. But this story goes hand in hand with the story of the song Elijah, which is the song after The Boy Who Could Fly on the new record. And it's a story about a little girl who lives in a house alone with her mother, and she is visited by a presence, somebody from her past, and it was a spooky little ghost story. But in order to get Nina excited about it, we had to add some murder. So now it's a spooky little ghost story with some stabbing and some arson.
sounds good
Yeah.
to me.
All right. So it is a cute little love song with a little bit of Annabelle.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
like
I always
that.
envisioned The Boy Who Could Fly and Elijah. I envisioned that in my mind as a Guillermo del Toro movie.
So you're just saying that to butter me up because you know I like Guillermo del Toro.
I do too. I think everybody. So you should definitely listen with the lights out.
Sweet.
So people can make babies to this song.
Oh,
Little metal
not that well.
Evil
Yes.
babies. It'll make evil babies.
Evil
Yeah,
ghost demon babies.
Little
Damien.
ghost babies.
Oh, you're pregnant? What are we going to name him? Damien?
Elijah.
Annabelle?
This is or Kevin. This is the Boy Who Could Fly
Shut
by
up.
the Sound of Thunder. And we'll be right back on the Will and Thunder Show. Thunder show. That, of course, was The Sound of Thunder, and the song was The Boy Who Could Fly. Awesome song, and our studio audience really digs you guys, too.
Oh, yeah, they seem really excited.
I'm digging the applause.
I just want to say before we, before it happens, that in about 10 minutes, if you're listening to us, it's gonna cut off. The show will continue for a little while longer until we get done, but it will, and it'll be on YouTube sometime in its entirety later on this evening. Just want to get that out of the way. So if the show goes away in 10 minutes, don't panic. You'll be able to hear the rest of it later.
Awesome.
Anyway, I got to tell you right now, man, it's one of those songs right there. I mean, the power's right there. The vocals are awesome, man. You guys, I mean, I've heard from other bands out there. I mean, you see little headlines, you're the hardest working band in rock and roll. But honestly, you guys in the last 4 years have put your heart and soul, your asses on the line, honestly, and put out a bunch of music.
Yeah,
Josh is
we've
kind
been,
of a taskmaster.
yeah, we've been accused of being crazy. You know, it doesn't make the best sense necessarily financially, but, you know, we're not really doing this to make money. Of course, we like to make money because we put it all back into the band and we can do more things.
Right.
You know, my favorite bands from the 70s, like, you know, they were all before my time, but bands used to put out an album every year. That was just the way it was. And, you know, now it seems like it makes more sense to do an album every 2, 3, even 4 years and spend more time touring. But we're, you know...
And actually, that sucks because as a consumer, as a person, I've been a musician, man, and I love music. I love playing, but I always love giving a little something new out there, man. And when you have that, and you guys have that drive right there, you guys literally put out 3 albums in the last 2 years. You started your EP, you did a full album, and then you did another full album.
Well, this is actually our 4th, I guess it's our 4th in less than 4 years. And it's a lot. I mean, and they're all an hour long. So
I have a question here. Who has the rich granddaddy who's giving you guys the time to do this? Because
That would be
I don't
Josh.
think that you guys can hold a job and do all this. I mean, if you do hold a job and do all this shit, hell, you guys never sleep.
I mean, on one of
They
the
don't. I don't think they sleep at all.
one of the
I don't think you guys do either.
advantages was that, like, we're not a bunch of 18-year-old kids. So, like, you know, Chris, our drummer, when he's not doing the drum thing, he's the manager of a physical therapy clinic. You know, so he does all right. And
Right.
especially when we were just starting out, like, that was really important because between the 4 of us, we were able to scrape together enough money to do the first EP and the first album. And then, you know, we went way out on a limb when we did the second album, Out of the Darkness, because that one cost a bit more. But, you know, it panned out because Out of the Darkness was the one that, you know, really kind of established our name. People started to know who we were. And then by the time you get to the third album... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to tell you something right now. I read your bio right there, and I saw how you guys raised your own money to do this, and you guys would set limits and blow it out the water. That's work,
Yeah.
son. That's work. I mean, you're putting your feet to the ground. I mean, see, you know, there's a difference in my day and your day. I'm 41 years old, and you guys are probably in your 20s right there. But you have the same work ethic that I did. I mean, when we went and played a show, we put flyers on walls, and we put them on, you know, a post here and there.
They
But
still
you
do
guys
put,
are doing the
flyers
same thing.
on-
You guys are doing the
Facebook
same thing,
walls
and you're putting
instead
work
of,
to it.
instead of brick and mortar.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Exactly.
work.
And you know what? And you guys work it, and you guys do it. And for you guys to, your first, well, not first album, but it was your third album that you guys actually set up a thing, said, you know what, we're going to make $8,000. And you made, what, $9,400?
Yep.
That's work. That's work. That's skill right there. And for the fourth album, you did even bigger than that. That shows right there. Not only are you musicians, but you're entrepreneurs right there. And you're like, look, man, we're going to find a way to get this music out there.
Well, I think it
Yeah.
also shows the enthusiasm of the audience, that how hungry people are
Absolutely.
for this kind of music, that they're willing to you know, basically put down money. You know, I've seen what people put, like $3,000, $1,000 at one time for this.
Yeah,
and
we
it's
had
just,
2 people put down 3,000, and I think 3 people put down 1,000.
Wow.
yeah, I know
Yeah,
one
I
of the
think
people who
They
put
got a
down
free
1,000.
copy, right?
And
Well, a
yeah,
lot
that's
more
just
than
proof.
that.
Yeah, thank
That's
you.
just proof in the pudding right there. It's just proof in the pudding right there that your product is good. If
Well,
not
thanks
good,
to them
better
that,
than
you know,
better than
because of
great.
those donators that I finally get to see them in November. So, you know, I'll see you guys hopefully. Yay!
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
I mean,
party.
we'd like to take credit for it. I mean, it is work getting the word out there, but you know, those numbers and those successes with the Kickstarter campaigns are, you know, those are because of our fans. And you know, one thing that we've said before, and it sounds like it's just a catchphrase, but it's really true, is that our fans, they are our record label. They're, you know,
Right.
the job of a record label was to finance the record. You know, they were like a bank, and that, you know,
Right.
because a musician back in the day, it cost so much more to make a record, you couldn't hope to finance
Well,
the
here's
record
the
on
deal.
your
You
own.
know, the record labels might write you a small check, and you might get a check, but it's the guys that listen to your music, they go buy your album, who pays your rent right there.
Well, there's an
And if you
advantage
guys
to
put
the way
out-
that they're doing things too, because if the fans are the record label, then they can make the kind of music they want. Where the record label
That's
is
right.
them, well, you know, you need to have more ballads. This is too much of this, or you know, this band's doing this,
Exactly.
so you need to try that too. And you know, trying
Well,
to tell you what you
you
should
need a
be.
4-chord
so.
song.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
the
Where's
song that
your
you guys
Stairway to
just
Heaven?
played,
I mean,
yeah, they you know, the labels that we talked to about the last album, they wouldn't have let us put that song on the album, so there would not have been A Boy Who Could Fly for you guys to play, because, you know, these metal labels, they want everything kind of prepackaged and
control, and they want you to be a certain way and dress a certain way, and you know. Look, man, thanks for keeping it real, man.
I have a pair of questions. First of all, who does the incredible artwork on your album covers?
Oh, that is Dusan Markovic. He is a super talented painter. We met him. Well, we didn't meet him. We found out about him at a metal festival in Chicago called the Ragnarocker Metal Fest, which is an all-traditional metal fest. It's a great event. You guys should check it out. But they had this amazing poster for the event, and it was all painted, and it was beautiful. So we asked about it, and we found Dusan. And Dusan lives in Serbia. We've never met him. We've only talked to him over the internet.
Oh,
But
wow.
the first piece he ever did for us was the Queen of Hell painting, which, you know, he took Nina gave him the ideas in writing and a couple of sketches of her character, and he came back with this amazing piece. And we were like, that's our guy. He's fantastic to work with. So he did Time Zero after that, and he did the new album, The Lesser Key at Solomon. He did the cover, and he actually did a painting for every song on the new album.
Yeah,
Oh,
actually,
wow.
I was going to say that I was going to compliment you again and use a Rush reference. I like how his music is so much, when you look at it, it complements the music so much the way Hugh Symes' artwork does with the Rush albums. Like, every one of his album covers complements what the music is about and what the theme of that particular album is. And I like that this guy's artwork does the same as well with your music, because that's kind of what drew me into your music is my friend Tim had your Queen of Hell song on his Facebook, and I saw the image of, you know, with the video and everything. And so I had to click on it, and then from then on, you know, hi, Tim, if you're out there listening. But, yeah, that's what drew me in. It's like, wow, that's a badass-looking drawing, and, you know, let's check
I mean,
this
I'm
out
sure
and see what it is.
We've got 5 people on the line right now, so I'm sure there's at least one more person besides me that knew the kid that got into Iron Maiden because Eddie looked awesome.
Right.
Exactly. And you know, and I'll be honest with you, I mean, that's so much, as much of the music right there. When you can take an artist right there who can express what you're feeling musically and put it on a CD cover right there, that's big right there. I know an artist right now who is phenomenal. He works with many different, you know, genres and everything. And to see some of the things he's done, but like your covers right there, you took this guy right there, I don't know how well you knew him before beyond that, and you give him the opportunity, and then you see something, and you're like, oh, this is exactly how we're trying to express ourselves.
Yeah,
And to have
I mean,
an artist like that, and for you to hold on to him, because, I mean, you know Iron Maiden, the first time they're like, oh, yeah, we have this guy that we're thinking about, you know, he looks like a zombie kind of, but, you know, draw me something out here. And he draws out, they're like, oh, really? That's it. And don't go
Well,
anywhere.
yeah, I was
I
going
don't
to
care
say,
what
too,
you do.
the same way that Derek Riggs' artwork complements Iron Maiden's music. You know, the same thing.
right.
It's so important that I think it's, you know, goes hand in hand to have a good artist that can express visually what you guys are trying to get out there musically. Because a lot of people are visual people. They they don't, some people, they don't grasp onto something unless they have a visual aid to kind of tell them what it is they're seeing or hearing.
Definitely. I can definitely say there are several bands that I would not have gotten into if I wasn't drawn in by their album covers, like Hammerfall, Iced Earth. Those two, all I did was look at the album covers, and they were like instant buys. So I don't know what it is, but I'm probably going to like it.
Well, it kind of brings you back to the day when you actually looked at records. I mean, when you looked at vinyls right there, and you looked at, even go way back to like the Boston era right there, and Boston had that big UFO-looking album right there. You're like, oh, I got to buy this right here. What's up with this right here? You might not have known a song on it, but, if there was an album cover that had something that tricked your mind right there, you're like, oh, what is that? It's got to be good music to it. And,
well,
I
and then
see
you flip over the Boston album, and it's a guitar. So a lot of people don't know that. The UFO is a guitar if you flip it over.
Exactly.
You
look at all this.
That was on T-shirts. I saw the guitar on T-shirts back in the early '80s. I do remember seeing that.
Or even Dio's logo. If you flip it upside down, it reads the word devil. A lot of people do
Exactly.
that.
Oh yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, a lot of people do see that.
Dio's another one.
But,
Dio's another one with incredible album covers. I'll tell you what. Right. The album. My first Maiden album was Power Slave. And as soon as I heard that, I went back and got all of the ones leading up to Power Slave. And then when Somewhere in Time came out, I must have spent 3 hours just looking at that, trying to find every little thing that that Riggs incorporated into the Somewhere in Time album cover. That album cover is just one of the most and to think that he did it all with a paintbrush it blows my mind. And I didn't realize that your artwork was also a painting. I mean, I didn't think that it looked like CGI or whatever, but I just assumed it was.
Well, it's digitally painted, so he did paint it, but he painted it like in Photoshop.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's a painting. Right. It's traditionally done with a digital medium. If that
Electronics.
Makes sense.
It's like a digitally hand painted.
Right.
Yeah, it's like he painted it, but he painted it on a computer.
Exactly.
Yeah, they have props where you can use like a paintbrush that is like an iPad. I've seen them.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. What's the guy with the fro? The white guy with the big afro. He didn't paint it like him. He didn't paint mountains and pine trees.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
we
I
all
do.
know who he is. If you're over 30 years old, exactly. He wasn't a Happy Meal painting guy.
Yeah, Happy Little Trees.
Bob Ross. Bob Ross.
Yeah.
And that was a perfect way to say it. Happy Little Trees.
Happy Little
That's
Trees.
right.
I saw a meme of a guy, of a cloud painting, and like doing a little picture of him instead of the happy little tree, or the happy little cloud or whatever.
I tried painting clouds one time. Yeah, I did. It didn't come out well.
But well, the next of the last song that we have from you guys is Udoroth, and I'm assuming that is that's the Cthulhu little monster on the album cover.
Yes.
No, actually, the monster on the album cover is a swamp monster that is being summoned by the woman, and Udoroth is the demon lord who is actually in control of that monster. So the story is that Udoroth is the king of hell before the queen of hell begins her reign, and they are enemies.
Yeah, and one thing I guess we haven't explained is that I mentioned that Dusan did a painting for every song on the album. So the album cover is actually the painting that goes with the instrumental intro, the Nexus of Realities. And that was a title that we sort of took from Marvel Comics. They have something called the Nexus of All Realities, which is just, the concept is just a place in the world where supernatural energy is focused, and it allows you to go into other dimensions or other worlds. And so the woman you see she's at the Nexus of Realities, and she's opened a doorway, and what you see, what she finds from the other side is the monster.
That would be a pretty rude surprise to open the door and see that looking at you.
But that comes back to what we were talking about earlier about this kind of music, opening up the landscape and stories and, telling tales that, taking us to places we normally would not go.
Yeah, that's all. We want people to think about that kind of stuff, and hopefully, ideally you should be listening to the album in a dark room with like a candle lit and maybe a human skull and a Ouija board.
Just tell a story right there, and just opening your eyes and your heart and your mind and your emotions to, not just the music to it, but you're telling a story, and that's a beautiful thing right there. It's awesome, man.
Yeah,
is the story of the Nexus of Reality and Udoroth and everything, is that an original creation of you guys', or is that something that you basically wrote about? Is that a pre-existing
well, they're
story
all, none of them are taken from books or movies, if that's what you mean. Most of the lyrics on the album are Nina's, and so Udoroth was her creation, and that was part of her story. She also created the Queen of Hell, and so we have this whole mythology about the Queen of Hell, and Udoroth is her nemesis and also kind of her creator in a way. And so at this point, we've got a song cooking about her boyfriend that dies and becomes an angel, and they have to fight later. And we have a whole story fleshed out based on Nina's ideas for the Queen of Hell that she's had you had that for a long time, right, Nina?
Yeah, I've been writing that for like 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
And so
Well,
Elijah,
A great album name right there, The Queen of Hell. A great album title right there, and you have anywhere to go from there.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to invite you on, the Tuesday before Halloween, we're doing a Halloween special. And it's not going to be anything like a normal show for us. We're going to do like Halloween stuff. I have a dramatic reading of William Telltale's or Edgar Allan Poe. Damn, the Telltale Heart.
Spit it out, buddy.
Yeah, right. I had that, and I'm going to be playing that, and I'm also it has mood sound effects and stuff like that, and music in the background. It's really it's a really good reading of the Telltale Heart.
Awesome.
I'm also writing something original along the same lines as not the same storyline, but it's gonna be a dramatic reading with all sorts of stuff happening in the background. But if you guys have something that's like really freaking scary,
dark and demonish.
Yeah, or if you guys want to write something specifically for it, I mean, we'd be more than happy to have you guys on for a segment or two on that particular show. The band from South Africa,
sure.
Terminatrix, we had them on a while back, and they're gonna do something original for us to play. They won't be able to be on the show because they're 6 hours ahead of us, and we're not gonna do an early show on Halloween. But
no, we got to be as close to the witching hour as possible.
right. So. But I mean, I'd love to have you guys either come up with something, give us something that you've already that already exists. It's just like really scary, really creepy, really hair standing up on the back end of your neck if you're listening to it. Or if you want to, if you have the time, come up with something something brand new for it. Doesn't have to be anything long or anything. Just doesn't even have to be. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a song. Just something.
Okay.
Something about 3-4 minutes right there. Not even 3-4 minutes. Like a minute and a half right there, and just kind of creepy and eerie, and
I think I've got a couple of
metal.
things that I could share with you.
Oh,
That's right.
Awesome.
Well, we would definitely appreciate that right now, and we're sitting here and we're 10 minutes past where everybody else listens to, but
That's all right.
not everybody else. I didn't mean to say that. That came out the wrong way. I'm sorry.
I know what you meant.
No, 10 minutes past our scheduled time, I should have said.
The cutoff
But anyway,
This is
and it's not even
we're
cut off
gonna go
because
ahead-
I'll tell you what it is.
We're gonna
Go
go ahead
ahead,
and play Udoroth. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and play Udoroth, and then we'll be right back on the Will and Thunder show to wrap it up with Sound of Thunder. I've had a great time, and I hope you have too. We'll be right back.
All right, listen to some Sound of Thunder.
Once minuscule crawl from the ranks of crime, condemned to pay for every mortal crime. A soul so loathsome even demons saw more. His name is misery, this pagan fine. The lust for agony has all laid dormant, has woken in his damned desire for
Sound of Thunder show. That, of course, was Udoroth by Sound of Thunder. The best thing to come out of Washington, D.C., well, ever.
Anyway, can I say something real quick here? And it may be emasculated or whatever, but here, I'm going to tell you something right now. Your vocals right there, first of all, you're classically trained and you have that angelic voice.
Oh, thank you.
But I'm telling you, which is awesome. But on top of that, you sing with more balls than most guys in the metal industry right there. You can get it down and dirty, and you can throw it down. You're like, and you can throw a little grunge, gravel into it. It's awesome right there.
Do not say the
I said the
T word
same
when
thing in
we're-
my review today that was posted up at Sonic Cathedral, that part in Udoroth towards the end, I really think the metal god would just bow in reverence to you and totally pass.
Oh, my goodness. Because we've had a lot of femme metal bands with female singers, and a lot of it is so angelic sounding, all the time. But you have that you got that roughness right there, like, listen here, I'm going to tell you what, I'm pretty, but I'll punch you in the fucking face and shut up. That's what your voice says to me. That's what your voice says to me right there. It's like, look, I'm pretty, but I'm going to fuck you up. So, look, here's the deal.
Oh, thank
You want to hold my hand?
perfect.
We can take a walk in the park. When you say the wrong thing, guess what? I'm going to leave you in the park.
I love you. It's exactly what I was going for.
Well, you know
what?
back
It
to-
comes out 100%.
Coming back to what we talked about earlier before the band came on the show about the article of, linking classical and metal music together, Nina actually has done, is doing or has done musical type stuff. You did the Sweeney Todd, right? With the metal Sweeney Todd. So, she's living proof pretty much that these genres that we were talking about, Broadway and classical and metal, how they all kind of come together and have similarities that a lot of people don't see.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the sad thing is you take great musical aspects of things like, Broadway, and you take classical, and you take opera and all that. It's the same genre with metal. The only difference is that, you know what? The instruments are electrified.
Yeah.
The vocals might be a little louder, a little bit more rough, but it's the same thing. I mean, the intricacy is so there on every aspect of it.
Yep.
Well,
I
Sabotage
could
kind
see-
of, Sabotage and later when they started TSO, kind of, merged the two into, into one single entity and everything. And this is a story I love to tell. I was kind of the black sheep of my family growing up. Well, still am. But one time I was.
Hey, Will, real quick.
Chill.
Before you go any further, I just want you to know that I love you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, feel the love.
Oh, give me a
Anyway,
hug.
go ahead.
No, anyway.
Because we have to do a show next week, and I don't want you to commit suicide tonight, I mean,
We're
so
going
tell
to
your
the Lion
story.
King where you need it.
This is an awesome story.
I
okay?
can show you the world. I'm just kidding. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm going to mute you.
You think that scares me?
My aunt
Break it
was,
up.
You're the first one. You're not the first one that tried that.
I'm muting you. Anyway, my aunt was is a religious, hardcore religious believer and everything, and she was always down on me for playing metal and all that stuff, down on me for listening to metal and everything. Well, one Thanksgiving I was over at her house because she was hosting it that year, going through her CD, looking through her CD rack, and what do I find? I find a Trans-Siberian Orchestra album. I'm like, I said, hey, come over here, please. What is this? She said, oh, you might actually like them. This is that's called a symphonic, or a symphonic symphony orchestra, or something like that, or whatever. And I said, do you realize that these guys used to be a heavy metal band called Sabotage?
Oh, you own that?
Own it, love it, and live it. Am I still muted?
No, I never muted you. But,
well, I shut up, so it worked, all right, you son of a bitch.
but yeah, that was one of my, what I love telling that story. It's just, my aunt was just, beside herself. She had no, she had no freaking idea that TSO used to be Sabotage.
Yep, now she has to admit she's a metalhead by default.
That's right.
Oh, and I never let her live it down either. I mean, this was
Nice.
This was 20 some odd years ago, and you know, last time I saw her was 2009. And I brought up, I said, "Still listening to TSO?"
How's that sound going?
Glared at
You
me.
throw her the metal horns every
Honestly,
time you see her.
look, and I know we didn't get to this, but guess what? I was reading today that Sabotage is putting out a new album.
Well, yeah,
I
they're
did
going
hear
to be
that they're playing
reuniting
this
at
summer.
Wacken, right?
Yep.
Yeah, there's a bunch of bands coming out with new albums right now, and I'm not trying to get off key here, but one of my favorite bands, which are kind of funky and fun and everything, Primus is putting out an album also.
Mm-hmm.
Rob Zombie. I mean, there's a bunch of bands that I listen to, because my scape's wide open, man. Anything from Red Hot Chili Peppers to Primus to Metallica to Poison to Led Zeppelin. I listen to anything and everything.
Nelson.
There's a bunch of bands out there that are coming out with albums.
Is Nelson coming out with an album, Thunder?
Oh,
Nope.
I knew you were going to go there.
All right there, Cupcake. You think you're better than I am? You think you're more of a man than I am because I like Nelson?
That's a drop.
Really?
Back
You
to
gonna
the
go there?
orders, you guys.
You really
Back
gonna
to the
go
orders.
there? You really gonna go there? All right, you just wait, because after the rain, I'm gonna come over there and whoop your ass.
See what I have to go
No,
through?
but-
I need to like always have to. I have to stop these two
Hey, Chris.
on a regular
Chris, thank you.
basis.
Anyway. God, bless you, man.
Anyway,
You called me out. I didn't even do anything bad to you tonight, man. I really didn't call you out for anything. And you gotta fuck me up like that? God bless America. We got a great band like Sound of Thunder on. You gotta bust my balls about fucking Nelson. You dickhead.
Well, why don't we ask them? What hair metal bands do you guys like? Do you like any of them?
Exactly.
Or, you know,
So
what
if you had a hair metal
bands
band, what's your guilty pleasure in music?
I used to think that this was a guilty pleasure, but now I don't think that they're a hair metal band at all. I just think that they're a freaking amazing bluesy metal band. But Whitesnake.
Oh, awesome, man.
I don't consider that a
Is it
guilty
hot?
pleasure at all.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
No,
dude,
I mean they got their biggest album happened right when they all had huge dyed hair, but other than that, I don't think they're a hair metal band at all. But yeah, I used to think that my Whitesnake fandom was something to be ashamed of, but now I know better.
It's not. It's not.
I mean, any band that even if it was for a limited amount of time had Steve Vai as a member, they don't.
There
suck.
you go.
Yeah, or John Sykes, or Vivian
Sykes,
Campbell, or
Vivian
even
Campbell.
Bernie
Someone who
Marsden.
sang for Deep Purple,
And the
Yeah.
only reason I like fucking Nelson is because my girlfriend was hot and she liked the band and I used to
You
sing
don't
it
need
to
to
her.
justify
All right, leave it
yourself. We
alone.
went through this last week.
After the rain, every time I sing that song, I get a blowjob. That's why it was good, all right? And I still love it.
Freeze.
'Cause I still
And
remember
you
that,
haven't
all
got
right?
one since, have you?
God, you guys are killing me here.
How
I'm not
about
endorsing
you-
their music. Look, their dad was a musician. They were just fucking blonde-headed guys right there that had a minute. But, that minute helped me out for a minute.
Well, it's probably a good time to be a Nelson fan now, right? You could probably go see him in a bar and be in the front row.
Oh, God, but all right, first of all, I love you. Thanks for being on the show, but you can't bust my balls on my own show, damn it.
I think I just did. I don't know.
And you look, I'm going to tell you right now, that was awesome. And that was so rock and roll that you just fucked me up on my own show right there. But now I've got like 7 more therapy sessions right now. I was almost done. Thanks for playing. We love you, Josh. We love... Damn it.
You just had 2
Look,
more days till retirement.
It's your
Get the
retirement
certificate
hell.
and everything.
Retribution is what I want right now. That was fucked up, man. I was just playing, man. I've been talking about how much I loved you all night long, man, bro. I thought we had a meeting, Fuck, I thought we were boys right there. And I just got fucking knocked down like I was a kid on the playground, the little kid.
It's all right. I think Nelson's hot, too.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah, of course you
I've seen
do, because you're a girl. I didn't think they were hot. I never said it. And you said, I think they're hot, too. I never said they were hot. Are you fucking
I mean,
kidding
hot
me
in a
here?
different way.
I was happy because my girlfriend liked the song and it was a blowjob every time. That's not gay at all.
See, you thought they were hot in a different way. Like, like that.
God dang. All right, you know what? I regret that I ever said that word Nelson, ever again.
No, I'm not making fun of you for it, you know, 'cause they did have good songs,
It's
and
fun.
their dad was talented. I mean,
you guys have fun doing the show next week when I'm not here.
oh,
better
man,
be
we're
here.
going to have to send him back to the shrink. God damn it. You're paying for it, Will. You're paying for it.
No, my shrink told me, do what's good for you. Don't go do things that are bad for you. I'm just kidding. That's not real. I don't see a shrink. Fuck that motherfucker. Tell him to shut up. And your couch is uncomfortable. Why don't you get a good couch? You want to get in my good things right here? Get a good couch. Anyway. Good Lord, I really, that went that far with the word Nelson. Love you. Hate it. You guys are worried about it. And you guys were worried about me for a minute.
And we still don't know who Nina's guilty pleasure is, through all that.
Man
Yeah,
of
who
War.
is Nina's guilty pleasure?
I don't have a guilty pleasure because I don't feel any guilt.
Bravo.
I feel the same
Awesome.
way.
But, I mean,
Yeah,
if I were going to say, like, who I like that Josh would hate, probably Necrogoblicon.
Do the who?
Necrogoblicon, but I don't feel any guilt for that. I just like
I've never heard.
bands where the singer is dressed as a goblin.
Oh, that sounds awesome to me.
I have a
Yeah.
question, though. Now, Nina and Josh, you guys are, what, 22, 23, 24 years old?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys don't
They're
ever have
not
Nelson,
going
so,
their age.
you know, that's okay. Then I'm okay. I mean, it's had a minute right there. Damn.
Hey, Thunder, you're the one that keeps bringing it up.
I know, because now I'm upset right here. Now I have an issue.
No, I'm actually 35.
Cool.
No, I'm actually whatever you said. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
going to
22
stick
and
with the
I'm
20.
Yeah, I'll be
That's all right.
22 forever.
I'm
Hey, well,
25.
That's awesome.
I'm 25 with 16 years experience.
Nice.
I'm just old.
But even as a
Well,
young 22-year-old, I actually do have to get to work tomorrow, so I'm going to have to say goodbye soon.
Oh, well, I'm so glad you were able to come in and talk to us about Nelson for a while.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us. I mean, this whole metal thing is it's a real small world, so you know, I'm sure we'll get a chance to meet you guys in person at some point. But thank you for
Yeah.
having us.
I can't wait for that. But
And
thank
we'd
you guys
love-
for
we'd
being a
love
part of
to,
this show right
play
here.
for you. Yeah, we're glad to do it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, we had a blast. Well, I always have a blast
Yay.
talking to you guys, so.
I was gonna say I've got Will and I've got Chris on my Facebook. So Thunder, if you want to look me up, I'll be on. You can catch me on
Dude, I'm
Facebook.
going to do it here in just a minute right there, and I'll be on there. And, you know,
I
it's
don't even
Simon
have you on
Thunder, and I'm
Facebook,
Kevin
Thunder.
Thunder.
What's fucked up?
Sounds
I
good.
know. Look. I've got 6 kids, man. I try and do Facebook, and I got to be. I'm working my best at it right here. I'm 41 years old. And I'm trying to figure out the social media. It doesn't work that well.
How you can do it?
Hey, look, if
You
you get
can
on
do it.
Facebook, you'll see that my 62-year-old mother is on Facebook all the time, so there is no excuse.
And you're right, but you know what? Then I do see those insurance commercials where she's breaking candies on her table, and I'm like, that's me right there.
Yep.
I'm playing Candy Crush.
All right, guys, I'll talk to you again on Facebook, okay? You guys have a good night.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Thank you,
Nancy.
guys.
Thanks for being
Good
on the
night,
show.
thank
Thanks
you.
for being on the show.
Yeah.
Good night.
Guys, thank you very much again. I'll talk to you all online, okay?
Bye, John.
All right,
I'll see you
thanks.
later.
All right, have a good night.
Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to the Will and Thunder Show. The band that's going to take us out is Beyond the Fade from Charlotte, North Carolina. You can find them at Beyond the Fade at Twitter and also at Facebook, Beyond the Fade. The song's called Lights Out, and they're going to take us out. Thank you for listening to the Will and Thunder Show. We'll be back next week, same time, 10 p.m. Eastern till midnight, with another awesome guest for you. Later. Basically.
What the hell is that?
I'm sorry.
Well...
Welcome to the Will and Thunder Show. Will and Thunder Show.
Ridiculous, 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 ridiculous. Welcome to the Will and Thunder Show.
Well, welcome on in, guys, to a slightly early edition of the Will and Thunder Show. I am Kevin Thunder, and out here we have William Telltale and Chris the Rock Trick. How are we doing, guys?
Oh, I made it.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm just not used to seeing daylight out when we do this show.
Speaking of daylight, have you seen the new... Oh, hold on. And since you said daylight, I have to bring this up because I saw a preview for a movie that's coming out. Last night's the first time I saw the preview, and it looks like an awesome movie to me. Have you seen the new previews for the new Dracula movie coming out?
I saw that it was, I saw it being advertised. I haven't watched it yet, but it does, it looks like it, just a little picture that they had, the little thumbnail going with the thing looked pretty intense.
Well, the basic concept, it shows where he's king and he's trying to protect his kingdom, and he's about to lose it. He doesn't have the forces or whatever, and he kind of sells his soul to this sorcerer demon type thing, and that's how he becomes Dracula. It's really cool. There's no twinkling, and there's no, I dance in the sunlight and I sparkle. It's real, like vampire kind of cool shit. He turns into bats and just decimates things. Oh, it looks unbelievable.
So is this going to be Vlad the Impaler, or is it a different character?
Yeah. It's Vlad the Impaler, and he turns into Dracula.
Nice.
Like by himself, like selling his soul. He goes to this demon sorcerer, and I'm just taking this is from a 5-minute little short thing I saw in the commercials, is where I'm, kind of basing on. But it looks awesome, man. And some of the scenes are like 300. They're in this valley, and there's this big army force just marching through, and you just see this just cloud of bats come through and start tearing shit up. It looks pretty good, man. It looks really, really good. I mean, it's a nice answer to that joke of a movie series called Twilight.
Twifag. So what?
We did not just say Twilight on the Will and Thunder Show. We did not just do that.
I'm just saying, but like that, yeah, of course I will. But yeah, it's awesome, man. I tell my wife all the time, like, hey, I'll walk in, she's watching. I'm like, are we really watching this again? What is this? Why are you keep putting this on the TV? Why don't you just put Lifetime channel on? If you're going to decimate my manhood, go ahead and just put on some, after-school special from, the Lifetime channel. But anyway.
Chris, I saw something that, I'm sure you've seen it. Don't they have a trailer for the new Hobbit movie?
I have not seen the trailer yet. I haven't really been online today, but I did see the poster yesterday. Oh my God, it looks so badass. I can't wait to see this movie. I'm strictly an elves and wizards nerd. I'm not into vampires. I'm not into spaceships. I just like things that have magic.
And I understand it. And actually, I have not. I watched all the Lord of the Rings, and I got to see those in the theaters.
You've never seen Lord of the Rings in the theater?
Huh?
You've never seen Lord of the Rings in the theater? You've not lived?
No, No, I saw all three of them, but I did not get a chance to see the Hobbit movies in the theater. So I have held back, and I have not watched them yet until I can go ahead and when it comes out, I'm going to get this set, and I'm going to sit and watch them back to back to back because the Hobbit's a great book.
You've got to see them in 3D. You have to. You
Well,
have to see the movies in 3D in the theater. Oh my God.
I'll rent a TV. I'll rent a 3D TV. Look, I've got a huge TV in my living room. Well, what about a 3D TV? I don't have IMAX in my house or anything.
It's not as big as the theater.
If you sit close enough, it is.
I guess. I don't know. Maybe you get one of those projectors, or I don't know.
No, I've got a big 65-inch TV.
But yeah,
Let's
it's
pick it up.
an experience to see these movies in 3D. So.
Hey, look, I'm only 5'6". My 65-inch TV, I can almost stand next to it and be part of the movie.
So you can be one of the hobbits.
Actually, yes, because the funny thing is, I'm 5'6", and I'm shrinking. I'm getting older now, so I might be 5'5" now. And I wear a size 12 shoe. So I am like a real-life hobbit. I am like a real-life hobbit, really. I mean, I have a size 12 foot, and I'm 5'6".
That's great. Yeah, I'm pretty short myself, so.
So my real name's Kevin Thunder Baggins. So, I mean, just
actually,
to put that out there.
I will send that to Will. There's a website where you can find your hobbit name.
Really? Well, awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Just type in your name and it gives you a hobbit name.
I fit the criteria, man. I'm right there. Short with big feet.
Awesome.
And you know what they say about big feet? Big shoes.
Yeah, I'm staying out of that one.
And you...
I'm here all week. Thanks for playing. Did I derail you? I do what I can, Look.
I'm already in the hot seat enough when we start talking football, so,
and I don't even want to talk about football this week. I mean, the Adrian Peterson, and that's, it's kind of harsh, but we'll get into that later. Anyway, Will, you were talking about the Hobbit movie. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen the trailer. I just saw that.
Oh.
Actually, I don't even know if it was the trailer. It might have just been the poster that Chris here was talking about. So but the poster does look badass.
But this was a while ago.
It has like a picture of you're behind everything that's going on, and there's like one hobbit standing, or it might be Gandalf. I'm not sure who it is. He's just standing there.
No, actually, it's Bard who kills the dragon. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Bilbo does not kill the dragon. If you've never read the books, then fuck you. You don't deserve to have spoiler free. I'm sorry. Go read the book.
Right.
Oh man. Okay. Spoiler alert on the Will and Thunder show. Damn. I haven't read the books.
Well, the book is...
Really? You've never read J.R.R. Tolkien? Well, see, it's been a long time since I read them. I read them when I was like 11 years old, maybe even younger now, because my brother was huge into The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, The Hobbit is a short book, and Peter Jackson has just stretched this out. He's bloated this into epic proportions. I mean, technically, The Hobbit book is about less than 300 pages. You could probably knock it out in a night. And, he's added so much stuff to the movies, characters that never existed, bringing in...
That's what I've heard. So that kind of messes things up for me right there. And that's why I haven't watched them, because I have a friend who's, big into the books and the movies, and he's like, yeah, there's extra characters, there's extra storylines that kind of, muddy things up a little bit, but has it been, somewhat...
Well, you know what it was?
To the book,
Peter Jackson had to have his answer to the Star Wars saga. He needed to have 6. So when Disney comes out with the...
That's a little bit untrue, because what happened was, I forget his name, I think it's Del Toro or whatever his name was, he was set to make the Hobbit movies. And people just got so outraged at the idea that anybody but Peter Jackson was going to do them, that, because he was done with it. He was done with, Lord of the Rings, Tolkien type stuff. He wanted to do other things. He's like, I've spent 10 years of my life invested in these movies. I want to do other things. And I guess, people just made so much of a stink at the idea. I probably would have been one of those people. I mean, when I heard somebody else other than him was directing the movies, I was kind of like, this isn't going to work. And so eventually it's just, I'll do it.
That would have probably irritated me too, because I became such a fan of the first 3 movies. Now, but promise not to hang up, Chris.
Why?
when the Fellowship of the Rings came out, the first film, I had heard all sorts of good stuff about it, about it being, a great story and everything. But like I said, I'd never read the books. So I'm sitting there watching it, and when it gets to the very end of the, I had no idea that the movie was the first installment of a trilogy. So so it gets to the end of the movie where they're at the top of the mountain looking, toward Mordor and whatnot, and then they roll the credits. I'm like, what the hell? That it was then that I realized that exactly what the movie was.
Actually, I've heard people that went to see the third movie, and the scene where they finally destroy the ring, and they're laying out there, outside of Mount Doom, and, the lava is coming down and all that, and it fades to black. Everybody starts applauding like the movie's over. I heard that from several people that happened in the theater, thinking the movie was over, and then that part where it comes back to the movie, they're like, wait, there's more? I mean, what more could there possibly be? The ring is destroyed.
Well,
but I do think it's kind of funny. A lot of people who never read the books obviously didn't know what was going on.
Well, I kind of can definitely see that. I mean, that last scene, especially as long as the movie was in the first place, that last scene didn't really need to be there. I mean, I don't know, maybe they could have.
Which one? The one with Sam? That's how the books end. You have to have it that way.
Well, Viggo Mortensen is not a good singer.
Oh, you mean that? Well, see, I mean, you have to tie up all the storylines. And that, maybe they shouldn't have done the singing. But, the Pippin singing is even worse. That whole song, I cannot even listen to it to this day because it just sounds like to me an American Idol audition. I loved the movies, everything about the movies I loved, but then they get to that part, and I have to press the mute button. I'm sorry, I just have never been able to get into that song that he sings. And, for me, it kind of ruins the whole scene because it's just, you see all these images of the war and, people suffering and, this hopeless fate that they seem destined to meet, and here he is, hey,
Yeah.
I'm on American Idol, she bangs.
Well, Star Wars, the Star Wars saga, it can be all, everything that happened in all those 6 movies can be blamed on one single individual.
Right.
Care to take a guess?
Right, and that's how the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies should be as well. But I think that was Peter Jackson's deal. Like, if you're going to let me back in on this, I want to do it my way, and I'm just going to have my, Tolkien porn, fan fiction, fantasy, and just do whatever I want.
Care to take a guess at whose fault everything is?
In Star Wars?
Huh? In Star Wars. I'm not talking about George Lucas or anybody that made the. I'm talking about a particular character. Everything can be
Jar Jar
traced back
Binks?
to.
I don't know.
You're right. It's his fault.
Yeah, I know everybody
Okay,
hates him.
go there.
I'm not a Star Wars fan, so I know nothing else other than everyone hates him.
Well, the reason, Thunder, the reason that I say that it's Jar Jar Binks' fault is because that where he's standing in for Senator Amidala in front of the Senate, and he says, "I vote to give supreme power to the Chancellor," and everybody else just falls in line. That right there, his fault. If he hadn't done that, then Palpatine doesn't become the Emperor, and there's no Galactic Empire, there's no Death Star, there's no nothing. It's all
Then you have
Jar
no
Jar's
Star
fault.
Wars.
Then you have no Star Wars, man.
You have nothing. You have nothing to live for. It's like we have no Chewie.
Exactly. And look, and then the coolest robot of all time, I mean, that stupid one from I'm Alive. You remember that stupid movie?
Which one?
Short Circuit. The coolest robot of all time would have been Short Circuit.
I'm an
I'm
80s
Alive.
kid. Of course, I remember those movies.
No, man, you cannot take R2-D2 out of the, yeah, exactly. No, R2-D2 was the
course.
coolest one. He had an attitude. He's like, look, he couldn't say a word, but he knew exactly how to beep out of you.
Well,
Now,
I mean, robots were
he
big
was
in
the
the
most-
80s.
He was
Everybody
the
had a
most
robot
vulgar
back then.
character. He was the most vulgar character ever to be in a film. They had to beep out literally everything he said.
Yeah, it's true. It really is. I never thought of that.
That would be one of the greatest trivia questions of all time. Who was the most vulgar movie character of all time? And then the answer would be R2-D2 because they had to beep everything he said. That's
Yeah, and
awesome.
no one's going to get it right. They're all going to guess stuff like
No
Joe
one.
Pesci or...
Scarface.
Joe Pesci, yeah, exactly,
Right.
That is awesome.
Oh, well, by the way, to anybody who might be listening for the first time, we are a metal show.
Dude,
Hey,
if
Lord
that's
of the
not
Rings
metal,
is metal, okay? And if you don't
That's
think
right.
so, then you...
you've never been to Comic-Con. Look, you've never been to Comic-Con or anything like that if you don't think that Lord of the Rings is Star Wars. It's not metal. Because you will see people walking around in stars, as a stormtrooper and a Disturbed shirt on top of it.
If you do not think Lord of the Rings is metal, you need to go listen to Battle Lore because their entire music is about Lord of the Rings. They pretty much made an image off their entire musical career is Lord of the Rings. Their songs are all